Are we on? Okay. Hey, everybody. We're live. Live from Nantucket. Welcome everyone to this meeting of the Nantucket Historic District Commission. It's Tuesday, October 10th at 4:02. And we have almost everyone present. One of our members is present on Zoom. Live here with us are Val Oliver.
Do we
Carrie
have to say
Thorne.
here? No, not yet.
Yeah, actually, that's probably not a bad idea, seeing as Stephen is,
Okay,
yeah, okay, so Val Oliver,
here.
thank you. Carrie Thornwell,
Here.
thank you. Joe Paul.
Here.
Let's do you, Stephen Welch.
Here live from sunny Sarasota.
Oh, really? Oh, good for you. Thanks. Connie Patton.
Here.
And I'm Ray Pohl. Thank you. That's our roll call for now. We'll let you know if anybody arrives. For any of the votes that are taken with including Stephen, who is on Zoom, they'll be done via roll call. Any others will be done just voice vote. For those of you in the audience, just two quick things. One, if you could mute your phones, and the second one is if you plan on recording any portion of today's event, let us know in advance. And Zoom people, just be careful not to screen share your computer. Everybody's watching you. All eyes are on you and all ears. So if you're not talking, you might want to mute your mic. Thanks. With that, could I have, so let me see, we got one, two, three regular members and 3 associate members. So I'm going to be doing a rotation of 2. So on whoever makes the motion to approve today's agenda, I'll start with Carrie and Joe.
So moved.
All right, so that motion was to approve today's agenda. That came from Val Oliver. On Val's motion, Carrie,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
thank you, Joe.
Aye.
Val on your motion,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Okay, we now officially have an approved agenda.
No.
By the way, folks, I forgot to mention, I'm only here until 6. I need to go interview somebody. After at 6:15, so I'm going to be leaving. Sorry. All right. So first item on the agenda is a commission discussion and vote. This went on at kind of the last minute at the behest of one of our members. So
That would be me.
Yes, it is. And for this particular discussion, I'd like both myself and Stephen to recuse because it does involve the two of us.
Okay.
Stephen, are you all right with that? I haven't discussed it with you, but are you okay recusing?
I think in principle, I just want to clarify the record. It's not, there's not a financial interest. I think it's just for the sake of perception.
Yeah, well, that would be true of me too.
Which is, by the way, is what we're talking about anyways, is a perception, a wrong perception, but in any event.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm going to say, just for my part, if any of the members that are involved in this discussion have any questions of me or Stephen, I'd be happy to answer, but I will be recusing.
So who's going to chair?
Okay,
Me?
so what brave soul is going to chair this?
What is it? I don't even know. what
Here,
it's about.
Val,
All right,
Val, how about you chair?
I'll-
Okay,
okay.
just this once.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm going to move away from the table.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
One, yes, sir.
Oh, I guess if I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. If Val's going to chair, I'd address her. I'm just curious, are both Diane and Abby here? And if not, do you want to proceed and then do we follow up with them separately? And that's number 2, really. Number 1 is I don't know that, I'm not going to recuse. I think that the concept of recusal is really foreign to this topic because it is if you have a financial interest. I don't have a financial interest. I can be, I think, relatively fair and impartial with respect to the overall matter at hand. So I'm going to step away from the table, but I did want to mention, I'm not recusing, but I did want to mention the Abby and Diane. And I'm stepping away from the table just to avoid any perception of impropriety. Thank you.
But to be clear, you're not going to be voting, right, Stephen?
Yeah, no, but I just, that there's a fine line. There's an odd line, a recusal kind of elevates
No, I listen,
this
completely
discussion
agree with
beyond what it
you
really is. Okay.
said. So, again, like, I'm not recusing because I have a financial interest or any of those sort of things. I don't feel good about participating in a discussion that would involve me, perhaps, and a vote that would involve me, perhaps.
So with that said, I'm going to say my little piece and read my statement and.
Actually,
Here comes Abby.
let the record reflect that Abby Camp has just joined us, so she
We
she
need
can
you as
actually
chair.
chair this. Abby, you just stepped right. No, it's everything fine, everything fine. So this is item number one. Stephen and I are recusing because it does, well, I'm not gonna get into what.
No, please, just
but
let me
you-
speak.
You just, you're gonna be chairing it, but Val will take it from here, okay? All right, thanks.
It's not a project.
It's not a
Something
project.
else.
No. This is regarding a response with regard to some incidents that were published in the local media this week with regard to the HDC, and I did write a rebuttal myself, but I thought it was important for us to, as a group, support each other. So your personal feelings aside about 9 Sherburne Way application and the select board decision to uphold our findings last week, we are a democratic board and our decisions are based on a majority vote. The smear campaign and accusations about our chairpersons are unwarranted, and I hope you will stand together with me as a board to support them in their continued service to this commission. So my small little statement is, we, the members of the HDC listed below, take exception to the personal attacks on our chairpersons in the local media. We, members of the HDC, may disagree over regulatory matters sometimes very strongly. However, uniquely knowledgeable of our chairs, we would never question their motives or integrity. We repudiate the recent accusations and insinuation levied upon our chair and vice chair, and we appreciate their dedication and look forward to their continued participation in all HDC matters. And everybody can sign it.
Well said.
Thank you, Val. Do we take a vote on this or do we pass it
That's what I
around, or-
wanted, a vote, and then we can send it around later and people can sign it. But I wanted to rally our support for our board as a whole. And I felt that it was important.
Okay. So let's see, we are people. What would the motion be then to,
Approve and desire to sign the letter.
the letter? Yeah. Or
What
Holly,
does
go
it say
ahead.
here?
Anybody want to say anything?
Well,
yeah.
I'll say-
Discussion and vote.
Okay.
Is there any
Holly,
discussion?
Would you like to say? something?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just curious on, once the commission makes this motion, where's this letter going? What's the intention?
I was gonna put it in the newspaper. Just that simple statement.
All right, well, why don't we have a small discussion about it and
Yeah.
then we can see where it goes. I'll
Is
go.
this-
All right.
I'm in agreement with you, Val. I think I would add one thing. Sometimes we disagree on regulatory matters and design issues. That's just a fact, but we are all on board to do the best job that we can, and we do have absolute faith in the chairpersons. No question. That's one
Okay.
piece I would add.
Thank you,
Okay.
Carrie. Connie, did you? were gonna say-
Is this in response to the letter that was in the ink in
Yes.
there? Okay.
Yes.
Joe, your thoughts?
Well, I didn't see the letter and I'm not familiar with the particular address or any controversy around any particular project, but the contents of your letter sound reasonable, and I think that it makes sense that we offer our support to the chair and vice chair, even if we aren't on the same side of the table when it comes to a particular vote. So there isn't any kind of a division happening at the HTC board. So I'm happy to sign something to that effect. Doesn't have to be specific to that particular address, in my opinion.
Does it say Sherburne
Yep.
on that? So I was against the demolition of the building and I still feel that way, and it doesn't mean that I don't appreciate and respect my board, but I think I would probably not sign it just because that's, I mean,
Well, and that's
That's-
why I said what I said at the beginning, regardless of where you voted on that, this is about the disparaging of our chair and our vice chair and the insinuation that there was collusion and all kinds of behind the scenes things going on. Has nothing to do with that particular application. And if that makes you uncomfortable, that's not
Yeah.
in the document to sign. That was my prelude.
okay. So about, Carrie, did you want to make that motion to?
What would the motion be? I don't even know.
Um,
To those who want to sign, I
Oh.
don't even know if it's a motion or if it's. supposed-
Okay, maybe Holly has one thing to say.
I was curious, Madam Chair, through you to Val, if, because we have not seen this in writing, and I don't think that anybody else has.
I can give it to you.
That would be great. Maybe read it into the record and then we could send it to everybody.
I did
afterwards.
just read it. It's really short. The little part about the application itself was my prelude, but it just says, we, the members of the HDC listed below, take exception to the personal attacks on our chairpersons in the local media. We, members of the HDC, may disagree over regulatory matters and design matters sometimes very strongly. However, uniquely knowledgeable of our chairs, we would never question their motives or integrity. We repudiate the recent accusations and insinuations levied upon our chair and vice chair. We appreciate their dedication and look forward to their continued participation in all HDC matters. That's
Thank
the
you.
thing that's getting signed, but I can give you a copy.
Okay, so on Carrie, that was your motion to,
I guess. To
All right, so-
allow this to be signed and sealed and delivered.
to the, you want this published in the Inquirer Merit? Sorry, I just came in on this and I didn't even, no, I didn't see this on the agenda, so.
It was a last minute thing.
Right, okay, so, is that the
Here,
intention?
this one has the,
So the intention is to sign this and then have it published in?
yeah,
In the Inquirer Merit, okay. So that's Carrie's motion. Aye. Oh, it's, by the way, sorry, is Diane here?
she's not on yet.
Okay. Oh. But I think we have five people. And, so,
Well, I support that motion.
okay,
I think the way the letter's written, it's sort of a universal support for our
Mm-hmm.
chair and vice chair. So I have no problem with that.
I don't either.
Aye.
all those in favor of Val's, of Carrie's motion?
Aye.
And I'll be a nay.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Due to the fact that this was put on the agenda within 48 hours, we need to ratify this decision for next week. So I would recommend for this to be held until next week in order to put it in the following week's paper.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So do you need to do a motion to hold until next week? No, okay.
No, it just,
Okay, just technically, we'll just be put it.
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see.
Good job, Ben.
We have two views. Stephen, are you still with us? Stephen Welch.
We're down.
No, Stephen? Okay. Stephen, so you're chairing the next two, the views, okay?
Great. All right, bear with me. I cannot see you guys. You're little tiny, tiny people. We have. Bear with me, I gotta. Is the applicant's agent,
Yes. As well as the applicant here,
oh, Val, I'm sorry, that's you and Jason Davidson and
Amy.
Amy. Okay, thank you. Okay, why don't you start where we left off? My understanding is we wanted to do a view to
Yep.
determine from the fire road that belongs to Sankaty Gulf, what the visibility was from the publicly traveled way, not the fire road, correct?
Correct. I thought it was important because some of the comments may not be relevant. So this is a photo from the end of Burnell, where you can look at the fire road. It's blocked off on all ends with rocks, so you can't drive down there. You could walk, but the next page of this document show you, I think there was a misconception that there's all small little buildings around here as well. And these are the structures immediately to its west on Burnell, which, so then keeping that in mind, those lots are 200 feet deep. We have a fire road to the north and absolutely no access to the east. And the driveway is 600 feet to where it flares out into the rectangle. It's going next to the barn that's there, which you cannot see from the fire road if you went out there or anywhere else. So I wanted you guys to go and view that and see what you could see, because I think although it may not be an architectural wonder, it's not going to be seen. This is their home they're going to live in, and they have a bunch of vehicles that they need to store below, which is why the garage is as large as it is. And I'll leave you with that.
Okay, thanks, Val. Does anyone have any questions for Val on the application materials?
Nope,
Okay, are there any abutters?
doesn't look like it.
Okay, is that, do we have somebody from Sconset who wanted to speak? Is that Bob? Rob?
Robbie.
Rob Benchley.
Yes,
Hey, good afternoon, Rob. Please just identify yourself and who it is you are working with.
I'd be happy to do that. Thank you. My name is Rob Benchley, and I'm the chairman of the Sconset Advisory Group, part of the former Sconset Advisory Board, whose members include Angus McLeod, Mary Lathrop Will, Clement Durkis, Caroline Ellis, and more recently, Ann Troutman. Mr. Chair, we had some comments come in about this building, and here we go. So a one-time rural area now becoming denser with residential construction. This is a one-bedroom apartment over a 3-truck/car garage, which is industrial looking and in a residential district. It doesn't seem to reflect designing Wisconsin in mind, with 3 sets of overhead garage doors, a sprawling second floor balcony with 4 section sliding plate glass doors and Muntin-less windows. However, there is certainly a question of visibility this far back on the lot. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Those are our thoughts.
Thank you, Rob. We appreciate it. Who would like to begin?
I'll go. Cause
Go
I drove
ahead.
out
I'm
there
sorry, is
today.
that
It's Carrie.
Carrie? Thanks, Carrie.
Yeah, I went out there today and indeed, you can't see anything from the public way here. And the road, that fire road is blocked off. So, I mean, I don't know if that will ever be open to the public. I am a little concerned that it is so industrial in nature or, just so massive, but it's not in our purview. So I feel that, we can't say much. So,
It's natural to weather and terratone
yeah.
too.
Okay, can, through, staff, please verify who the, sitting members are?
Welch, Camp, Coombs, Thornwell, Paul, Patton. I think you have everybody but Coombs.
Okay, great. Joe, would you like to go?
Sure. I share Carrie's thoughts. That might be all I need to say. Well, I will say one more thing. I mean, I think the sets of garage doors could look more like the doors on the other structure, but you're not going to see them. It's a little bit peculiar to me that they're so divided up with windows when all the other windows are 1/1s. But so far back from the road, not going to see them.
Can I add
Okay.
something, Stephen?
Yeah, hold on one sec. Thanks, Joe. Carrie?
It's Carrie again. I wonder if just to make one little sort of nod to the HGC, not 1/1s, but possibly 2/2s, and look at solid garage doors to match the existing ones, just so there's some, if it ever is seen from a public way for some reason, if all the trees burn down in the neighborhood, that there's some semblance to what we would approve, because we don't approve 1/1s anymore at all. So.
Definitely the doors can be solid.
Mhm.
We're good with that. What do you think, Amy, about the windows?
Okay, guys, I want to finish up before we start horse trading.
Okay.
Okay.
The owner
Gabby?
was here, sorry.
Thank you, Stephen. Yes, it is a residential neighborhood in Sconset, and I think this building should reflect that. I think I wish that it could be two massings instead of one boxy shape. I think this 6/6 windows would really help this. And I realize where it is. I went out there and drove around. But I think just, I think it would be more appropriate to do something to make it fit in.
Thanks, Abby. Connie?
I don't have anything else to add. I do think due to the lack of visibility, this would be okay. I would be in favor of changing the windows and the garage doors if at all possible. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree with other members primarily. It is atypical, but visibility is due to lack of visibility. I don't believe it's a concern. It would be nice if we could get some 2/2s. I'm actually less concerned about the garage doors. I just want to put that out there. From a practical standpoint, which we don't get into, that's light in the first floor. But the visibility of those doors is probably the least likely element given the depth of the lot and its orientation to the neighboring home from the public way. And then, of course, all the vegetation between from this lot and on the neighboring lot. So those are my comments. What would we like to do?
May I
Horse trade?
respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. We're willing to do the 2/2s and solid garage doors.
Okay.
I would make a motion to approve that through staff. Because I think that addresses most people's issue.
Carrie, on your motion.
Aye.
Abby?
Nay.
I was presuming Diane's not here. Joe?
Aye.
Actually, Joe, I apologize. I didn't jot you down on the list. You were the alternate?
He's on it. He
I
is
was on it, actually.
Okay, so Connie was the alternate?
Yes.
Okay, so Joe, you're a yes?
Correct.
Connie?
I,
And I'm a yes. So that is 4 in favor, 1 against. Abby, for the record.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next item on the agenda, which is, I believe, 24 Pilgrim. And that is, Karen, is that you?
yeah.
Okay, Karen, same thing. Why don't you just walk us through where we were? I believe we just wanted to get an eyeball on visibility of the dormer areas.
Right. It's a house on Pilgrim Road with multiple roof planes. None of the solar will be visible from Pilgrim Road or any public way. The majority of the roof planes are in parts of this house that you can't see from anywhere. I realize the area of concern with the HDC would be the front dormer, but that dormer is so shallow pitched and up on a rise. And in addition, we're pushing the solar panels back from the front and side edges, so you will not be able to see them from the ground anywhere. There's also a dormer. You can scroll down a little on that if you want to see what's on the screen. There's a dormer on the right side when you look at the house from the front. That could be one of your concerns. And again, we're pushing the panels not to the edge, but back from the edge and up from the bottom. And you won't see them because it's just a side view of that dormer. Now, there is a house just a few doors down on Pilgrim Road with complete solar array visibility. It's on the corner of Pilgrim and Cliff Road, and it's a large array. Looks great to me, but it's fully visible. This will not be.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Karen, I just want to clarify the structure you just mentioned. That's actually a Cliff Road address, right? The solar is viewable from the rear from Pilgrim.
It's exactly, it's Pilgrim Road viewable.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, who would like to begin? First of all, actually, why don't we establish through staff who the board is? It doesn't list it.
Welch, Camp, Oliver, Thornwell, and Patton and Paul are alternates, since Diane's not here.
So that's me, Val, Carrie, Abby, and either Joe or Connie. And did you guys, I guess we didn't have a rotation. Joe, why don't you go on this one and we'll pick Connie up on the next one.
Okay.
And Carrie, okay. Who'd like to go? Val?
Sorry, I'm still trying to figure it out on the elevations because they don't show it.
So, just to clarify, you've studied this one a couple of times. The east is facing Pilgrim and the image, can we go down to the image? Oh, I'm sorry, back up. I'm looking at, there we go. Nope. Top left of the next page down. One more down. There you go. So Val, just to answer your question, and Karen, obviously confirm or correct. The top 2 images are the facing Pilgrim, and the dormer shown with the arrow on the picture to the right, upper right, is the dormer as it's viewed from Pilgrim looking down the driveway.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Okay, Val, does that help, or do you want me to pick someone else?
I didn't have anything to say.
You didn't hear me?
Yeah, I understand the photos. I was looking at the drawing, sorry. To try and
Okay.
understand on those where they would be going. So, okay, thank you.
You want to comment?
I don't right now. Thank you.
Okay. Joe?
I don't have any issues. I see a lot of panels on this aerial, but they're all on shallow roof planes close to the road. I don't think they'll be visible.
Okay, thank you. Abby?
Visible.
Yeah, I think I'm good with it. I drove by it the other day and I think it has this circular drive, which also kind of obscures the front of the house. And my main concern was that front dormer, solar on the front of the house is not something we normally do, but because it lifts up and it's at a certain angle, I don't think you're going to see it. And the other, I was just trying to figure out all the other little odd, I wish it were a little more condensed, the whole plan. It's a lot to try and figure out here, but I think in general, I'm okay, Stephen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Abby. Carrie?
Yeah, I drove by as well, and I don't think you'll see it, you'll see the edges from the street, but that's it. And we've done that before, so I'm fine with it.
Okay, I'm good. I think the motion would be along the lines of, Val, I'm sorry.
I have nothing to add.
Okay, I think the motion would be along the lines of, with respect to the front dormer due to limited visibility, including the shallow roof plane and height of the roof, something like that.
Are you trying to make a motion? Do you want to
Well,
hear?
no, I'm facilitating a motion that's consistent with our past practices, as opposed to a simple motion to approve.
Yeah, I'd say, I'll just due to, where it's on the structure, it's not going to be visible. Even
Is that
though,
your motion, Abby?
that's my motion.
On your motion?
Aye.
Val?
I'm a no.
Joe?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Okay, back to you, Mr. Chair.
I think
Thank
that
you.
motion carried 4 in favor, 1 opposed, right?
Yeah, Val, for the record, was opposed.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Stephen. Okay, next up, we're new business of 919. 2 applications at 616 Swift Rock. Okay, so we have 4 regular members. Hi, Linda. Where are we in the rotation? Now it's a single rotation.
It's Connie.
Connie, what do you think? You ready? Swift Rock. Okay, Linda, why don't the first item will be the second dwelling, okay?
Okay.
And then we'll hit the shed. All right,
We submitted pictures. I hope they migrated back together, Esmeralda.
we have photos of the site in the package, yes, as a
Okay.
separate attachment.
I couldn't put them all in at one time. They'd bounce.
That's fine.
If you look at the existing house, it's way in the back, as a lot of the houses out there. So a lot of them have ancillary structures that are forward of the main house. It's back behind it, and it is changing grade probably 6 feet, if not more, from the locations of both of these structures and the back house. So pretty much just want to hear what you have to say about the secondary dwelling.
Okay.
Fairly simple structures.
So you shall. All right. Is comments from anyone other than the board members that are sitting on this at the moment?
I think there was a letter in the file that questioned why it was a 12 pitch, because the main body of the house is 12 pitch. It was from an abutter to the south, I think.
Oh, you know what? I did see that letter like last week.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's because the
And
pitches
it
all
does,
match
it
the
does
house.
match the existing house.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Linda. All right. So regular board, the 4 members of the regular board that are present, plus Connie, who would like to begin? Thank you, Val.
I actually was struggling with how these are sitting on the lot because they're just boxes.
Mhm.
On the plot plan, so I cut and pasted the 2 together. And I think that there's a height differential issue. I have them both at the same height. I know the application says they're not, but I think my biggest concern would be Well, we're talking about the house, so with the house, I think is fine. The garage is on the side and you can see the stair and the deck, but for this, it's fine. If any,
Val, you
Oh,
okay
you
with
weren't
this one?
suggesting.
Huh?
putting it
You're okay
together.
with this one?
yeah,
Okay.
but it's not taller than the garage when you scale it out.
No, they're on maybe 2 foot difference on in grade.
Not the house, the second house. So, yeah, this is fine. It just needs a clearer site plan
Okay.
showing where stoops and steps and stuff like that are. Deck.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Val. Who's next?
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, Abby's good. Connie, Stephen.
I can go. It's Connie. So the east elevation will face the street?
East faces the street,
Yeah.
correct?
Okay, yeah, I don't have a problem. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you said you don't have,
No,
you're
no
good.
problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Stephen, it's to you. Uh-oh. Are you muted?
I can see him.
Is he just being coy
I think he's having a pina colada.
down in Florida someplace?
I
Yeah.
I think he's talking, but.
Thumbs up or
No,
thumbs
Stephen?
down?
Yeah, Stephen, can you hear us? If so, give us a
Thumbs up.
thumbs up.
Yep. Said thumbs up.
All right.
He said he's good with it.
Okay. Wow. Okay, maybe we can do a sign language vote. All right, so the only thing, and I wanted to say this actually at the beginning of the meeting under commissioner comments, but when we had our group in, reviewing the HCC practices, the woman I talked to said, you guys use the word like and dislike far too much.
Yep.
And she said, what you're supposed to be saying is that it's appropriate or not appropriate. So just a reminder to everyone, I'm sure that's going to show up in some written form somewhere.
Oh, it
So-
has.
So is this appropriate? Yes. I question why you don't have a third dormer right over the front door, which would fill in that space, and it would also give light into the stair going up.
Did
But
you look at the floor plan?
yeah, the stair is right there.
I can add
I
one.
mean, I think it would be nice. I don't know how the other board members feel about it, but again,
It's sideways to the
is this
street.
approval as is? Yes.
Okay.
So I can't help but just reflect my own little personal bias. So either way, folks, let's have a motion and we'll see where it goes.
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted. I think it keeps it simple.
Okay, that's totally fine. All right, so the motion is from Abby, and the motion is to approve as submitted. On that motion, Val,
One small little,
Oh,
I
through
can
staff.
take that back.
Then I gotta wait for minutes for a month.
to make the porch roof not a gable, to make it a shed. So it ties in with the main house and it's not a pointy.
are you okay with that? Linda,
It's gonna take a month to get the minutes.
why?
Well, I'm still out on the 12th of September. All right. I'd rather not make any changes to it to get it approved today as is.
No,
It's saying approval through staff, Linda.
But I have to wait for the minutes
You
in
have
order
to
to get
wait
it.
for them anyway.
Make it a-
all
Look, you don't need my vote, so no,
Okay.
I'm a no.
all right. So, yeah, Abby's motion is to approve as submitted. Val's a no. Connie,
Aye.
thank you. Abby on your motion.
Aye.
And Stephen, you want to give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Up,
He gave us a thumbs up.
one thumb.
Okay. International Sign Language for yes. Stevens, yes, and I'm yes. So the motion carries 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Thank you. Now
Oh, I
let's
agree
go
with
to
you,
the
Val.
Garage.
Well, as far as I know, it doesn't change when you can pick it up, but. okay.
It does. We can't even
Uh,
submit.
Well, it affected it more a while back. That's definitely an improved situation. Is that?
Well, I'm
fair to
still waiting
say?
for September 12th and 19th. It is what it is.
All right, so anyway, let's move it along. We're going to the shed, right?
Garage. Hey,
Oh, right, I'm
garage.
sorry, it does say garage. I'm on the wrong application. Same board. Linda, anything to say on this?
No, Val, which direction faces? I can't see it from here. Which direction
East.
faces? East is the
Facing
stairs,
Swift Rock.
is where the stairs are.
Yes.
I can flip the whole thing.
No, it's not gonna matter. You
It
just
will, and
need-
the stairs don't get off the street side. Oh, well, you can see them from the street
You
either
wouldn't be
way.
able to drive into the garage, Linda.
Yeah, I'm just saying
It just needs to be
this way.
screened somehow, and the railing is atypical with the. I don't know if it's wire or what it is, but
It is wire.
Oh, no, it's going to be a
It's-
ballast.
it's
Hey,
right up
hey,
on the street.
let's just let Val
know.
speak.
Um,
Let Val speak. Thank you, Val. Let continue your train of thought.
So it was just the railing and the stoop just being right on the street like that. It should be somehow mitigated, whether it's shingled in or closed in with boards or something.
Okay,
Oh,
And then a more
interesting.
typical railing.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That's
All
the
right.
side that faces the street.
Now, Linda, you were so agreeable on that.
got it. Easy
Okay.
enough.
So Val, thank you so much. Who's next?
This is the second dwelling. We're on the garage.
Abby,
That's the garage.
Connie, are you ready?
Uh,
Wait, doesn't look the same.
I agree with Val over those stairs. If there's a way to somehow mitigate the view, that would be more appealing.
Yeah, we just
Or
shingle the whole,
appropriate.
shingle the whole thing, get the railing together.
Underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah. You okay with that?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Connie. Let's see, Stephen. I hope the technical difficulties are not on.
I don't see them anymore.
Really, he's gone. He might be trying to reboot. Hey, I'm gonna pull somebody else in, and seeing as Carrie and Abby are actively talking. Carrie, can you sit on this since Stephen's
Yeah.
gone missing? Go ahead.
I think the only thing is that the stairs should be made
Shingled.
invisible by foliage or something to, so you don't see that conquered.
We'll shingle them. We'll just shingle the whole stair. He's
But
got ground cover.
Yeah, okay, shingle as in parapet, or like, are you gonna get rid of the metal,
Oh, we're getting rid of the
Cable.
metal.
the cable rail thing?
Yeah,
You are,
I'm not a fan of cable rail.
okay,
There's a lot of foliage on the backside of this
hang
one.
on 1 second, Linda, you can clarify one thing, go ahead, Abby.
Yep.
Okay, so I just want to say, so the east elevation is the one that's on the street?
Yes,
Okay, and the stairs are coming towards us or they're going away?
Back up.
they're
the
going
hill.
away,
They're going
Away.
away, so you can put something in
Yes.
front. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, I'm okay with it. Thank
All
you.
right.
It's hard to orient myself.
yeah, got it. Okay, so Carrie, does that cover it for you? You had mentioned vegetation, but if we create sort of an opaque
Yeah.
surface on the eastern side and the northern side of that stairwell, yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Now, a question for you guys. Does it matter if it's shingled or if it's vertical board? Natural to weather. Okay,
Commissioner Pohl agrees.
Yeah, I mean, it is a stair, it's
I
not
do.
a structure.
okay.
Okay, so vertical board, are we all on the same page? So that's natural to weather, vertical board underneath the north and the eastern sides of the exterior stair.
And
And
what
no
about the
cable.
railing?
And the railing will go to
Regular railing.
wood balusters,
Yep.
vertical balusters. Whose motion is that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, that's Val's motion. On Val's motion, Abby,
Aye.
thank you, Carrie.
Aye.
Very good, Connie.
I,
And Val on your motion,
Aye.
and I'm in favor.
And that's
Okay.
through staff.
That is through staff.
And Mr. Chair, so
So
Mr.
6
Welch
months
is
from now,
here.
we should have something for you. Sorry, what?
Um,
Stephen,
Oh, yeah.
sorry,
If it's you or as, I don't know.
you went missing for a little
Diane's
while,
trying
but
to
if
get
you're
on.
back, that's great.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
All right, I'm having microphone issues, but obviously,
Stephen did a mic drop when he was doing karaoke down in, and they're trying to fix. He's down in Florida
Florida.
at some, resort. Okay, so now we're moving to old business. First item of which is 12 Pilgrim Road, Linda Williams.
We're down to 4 members, Mr. Chairman. I just want to put that on the record.
Say what?
We're down to 4 members.
I'm aware of that. So,
Okay.
but are you good or not
We're
good?
good with it.
You're good with that?
Yep.
Okay, then let's proceed. So, old business, it's myself, Stephen, Abby, and Carrie. Okay,
Alrighty. The new dwelling.
we're doing the house first.
Yep.
You are not on either one of these, no.
Nope.
Okay,
And Diane is the one that's missing and there were no alternates at the time.
right.
To preface this, we have an entire redesign of the structure. It was not well received any of the other times we were here, so we did a complete redesign of it. The colors are maintained with the gray roof and the Nantucket gray trim and the black windows. The window style hasn't changed. I'll give you the rundown and then the architect is hopefully up there. Yes, he is. We dropped it to 27 feet, which is not atypical, even for that side of the road. It's only maybe a foot or two above the 2 capes on both sides. We took away the angle. We centered it on the site. We broke up the massing. We telescoped it back. It's a much simpler massing now. And it ends in a 1-story in the rear. And I'm going to turn it over to Spencer, who's up on Zoom for the moment until we lose internet connection again. But it is very narrow, like several of them on the street. If you remember any of the previous submission, I gave you a ton of pictures of other structures on Westchester and Pilgrim that are as narrow on the street side as this one is. So it's not atypical on the street side either. But I'm going to turn it over to Spencer to
Okay.
answer any questions and move on from there. But you can see the previous iteration on the right of all these elevations.
All right, Linda, thank you. Spencer, your turn.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just piggyback on what Linda said. The massing is orthogonal now. As you remember, this is a very parallelogram type site, so it's kind of an odd site for that reason. But the building is orthogonal to the street. And again, telescopes down. Before we had a 2-story building, essentially the entire mass. We had an angle that followed the site-driven property lines. Now that's all orthogonal. Studied the neighborhood, studied general massing in Nantucket, conferred with another architect in town that kind of gave us pointers, and that's the application you see today. We think we've addressed all comments that were handed down previously for the massing and shape of the house. The square footage is slightly under what we're allowed for this property. And then there's a shed that's external, not attached, that we'll talk about next.
Okay, thanks. Now, in the package here, there was some photos taken by the neighbor, I believe. Is there anyone on Zoom or in the room that wants to? Oh, there you are. So can you come up to the mic here? And so what you do is just give your name for the record, you know, that stuff.
Yes, you get me again because most of the members of the neighborhood have flown the coop for the winter, so
Uh,
I'm representing.
you may want to stand a little closer to the mic. Thank you.
Is that good?
I think so. Just want to make sure you're heard.
Okay. So
Did you give your name for the record?
yes,
Sorry.
Kristen Graham,
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Your
Yes.
thing was in here.
I'm
Thank
11
you.
11 Priscilla Lane.
Right.
Dear members of the Historic District Commission, as close neighbors and direct abutters, we would like to share our collective comments about the revised plan for 12 Pilgrim Road. At the last meeting, we shared concerns which ended up being the same as yours. While we don't want to continue to double up and take extra time, we also don't want to miss our window to express concerns, especially not knowing in advance what your feedback will be. That is to say, we respect your time, expertise, and oversight, and thank you in advance for allowing us a voice. While there are significant improvements in the new plan, at roughly 27 feet, it is essentially just as high at the highest point as it was in the original design. To the best of our knowledge from research at the building department, the homes on either side are 19 foot 6 inches and 22 feet, and the house behind is 16 foot 8 inches, along with many other single-story ranches in the area. We remain concerned that this will tower over the neighborhood. We found the perspective drawings that were requested for the original plan to be helpful confirmation of whether the house would be in keeping with the neighborhood. Since this is more of a new design than a revision, we hope that new perspective drawings would be included. We feel that the decision about 12 Pilgrim Road is especially important because it could be setting a precedent for future direction of this quaint old school neighborhood, one of the few remaining. Originally, the applications for the house, the shed, and pool hardscape were submitted together and tracking each other. Without the pool hardscape plan, we feel there isn't an accurate representation of how much is being squeezed into the small lot, which I know was a concern for some commissioners. The houses around have more breathing room on the lot and are not extending to every setback. As has already been stated, there still isn't an accurate notation of the grade change from the existing grade. On the original cover sheet, and I think that's up there, but it says there is 0 grade change, which doesn't make sense if there's going to be a retaining wall and the lot is sloped. There have been many requests for clarification of grade. We feel it is important because if the grade is being raised at all, this will make a tall house appear even taller. Almost finished. Finally, the plan doesn't show where outside utilities would be, such as pool equipment, condensers, generator, trash, potential tanks, and anything else that might be located outside. The last plan showed most of it by the shed, and the pool equipment was in the shed. With the new location of the pool, that wouldn't be possible, and there isn't a utility room in the basement, so it seems the pool equipment would be outside, which we would have a strong objection to. Once again, thank you for consideration of our input and for the work that you do to ensure building with Nantucket in mind. Kristen Graham, 11 Priscilla Lane, direct abutter. Aaron and Alyssa Mandel, 14 Pilgrim Road, direct abutter. Patience Killen, 10 Pilgrim Road, direct abutter. John and Margaret Bonsi, 16 Priscilla Lane. Holly McDonald, 14 Priscilla Lane. Betty McDonald, 10 Priscilla Lane. Elliot and Eileen Pollock, 16 Pilgrim Road. Bill and Pat Glock, 7 Priscilla Lane. And I have one individual question, or I guess 2. On the plan submitted, it shows the fence and the retaining wall, and I wasn't sure if that would be voted on with the house or not until the landscaping plan, the outdoor plan comes.
So I can answer that for you.
Thank you.
The retaining wall, the fence, all that is part of a landscape application. But interestingly, the point that you raised about the slope and grade
Yes,
And the fact that the house is shown on a flat platform as opposed to a slope, and that the application says 0 grade change
right.
will be part of the discussion.
Okay.
Because if there's no proposed grade change, why is there a retaining wall and why is it being shown as a flat site? But so officially, they'll need to come back. The landscape elements are not approved with the house.
Okay, because the
It's
fence representation on that isn't accurate, but we don't need to worry about that now.
not at the moment.
Okay,
You said you had 2 questions.
I think they both have about the same thing.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
thank you.
Just to
Thank-
clarify, Mr.
thank you,
Chairman,
Kristen.
we're cutting, we're not filling.
Okay.
Which is
well,
why
this-
there's a
this will-
retaining
This
wall,
will come up.
And
in
her
our-
property is a good 4 to 6 feet above our property.
Okay. This
Like
will-
everybody
this will
else
come
going
up
up
in
the hill.
discussion, but Linda, thank you. All right. If there was no one else other than the board members who wish to speak on this,
Mr. Chair,
yes,
I
Holly.
did have comments.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank
Just to
you.
be clear, it's not in the old historic district.
I review
understood.
outside the
Thank you.
OHD as well.
Yeah.
As you all remember that this site had the cinder block structure from 1950s, which was allowed to be removed. And I wanted to bring up context of this neighborhood, which are simple shapes, simple capes and ranches, more in the Priscilla neighborhood from the 1950s, 60s and 70s. Appreciate the changes to the overall layout of this dwelling. The commission asked for fundamental changes and believe that was provided. However, also with a topo and cross section, which I didn't see in the packet, and I apologize if I was remiss in not seeing that. The COA will also need to be revised accordingly. The design provides additive massing as appropriate with building with Nantucket in mind. A gable forward with a 1-story bump out to the left and rear and a 2-story. Vertical rocket ship on the west. Design is getting there. But appreciate that there's no second floor balconies, which was something that was on the previous plans. The plans are hard to read, the height and the widths. It's been noted that the neighborhood context is simple. This would also include the fenestration 6/6 would be more appropriate versus what's proposed. The addition of a chimney would also go a long way. The commission asked for a topo and cross section. And although this is a redesign, as requested, those should also be needed. So those are some comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
I'm sorry, the last part was,
About the topo and cross section.
Cross-section.
right. Okay. Holly, thank you. Okay. Board members, are you ready?
Holly, was that rocket ship on the
Carrie's ready.
west?
So I totally appreciate the redesign. I think this is a lot better. I think it does still read as a little bit tall because the main mass is pretty narrow. And I also see that your roof, your whole plate could drop to just above the window header trim. Because you do have, it looks about 8-10 inches above
Mm.
those on the west and east elevation. So I think that gable on the front can drop down probably about 10 inches and bring it down a bit, which means the mass on the west, the little rocket ship also needs to come down in conjunction with that to still be secondary to that main mass. I kind of think the entry is a little almost too Victorian and fanciful for this neighborhood because things are so simple. But that's really all I have to say about it. I really think the changes were good ones. Oh, the French doors, if you're going 2/2, which I don't mind,
Mm.
or I think are appropriate, I think the doors should also change to have maybe 3 tall instead of 4 tall glass, because it's 8 light, and I think maybe it should be more in conjunction with those 2/2s.
If we keep the 2/2s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the reciting made a big difference, and I understand that the corners are sort of lot line to lot line, but because your property is canted to the building, you've got sort of air around the setback, so.
Yeah.
And it's outside the setbacks, not lot line to lot line. So,
Setback to setback.
yeah, we say that all the time.
Setback,
I
sorry,
know.
yes,
Yeah.
setback to setback. Thank-
It's
That's
never
it.
that.
It's never lot
It's
line.
always
to lot line.
setback to setback.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, Carrie, thank you so much. Abby, are you ready?
Yeah,
Great.
I have a couple of things. I was confused about the height because there seems to be two, and maybe that's because of the grade change, but one place it says 30 and another place it says 2611. So I
Yes,
just-
2611, the 30 line shouldn't really be there.
Okay. Well, I think, in this neighborhood, I think it's still too tall. I think it's, I appreciate the changes, but I feel it's very boxy with no additive massing. I think the,
What? Boxy.
boxy,
Was that Stephen?
I don't
Not
know.
me.
I'm not sure, but it appears to me as boxy.
It was
Um,
not me, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. For the record. it
It's
was
the
not
palm
Stephen.
trees.
I still think it's overwhelming, the site, the size of this in relationship to the site itself. I feel the windows are very vertical, very sort of almost, even more than a Victorian. They seem very vertical. They are A3s and As. And I agree with the other comments about the west side still having that rocket ship that still seems to, I'm not sure if that works. So that's it from me for now. Thank you.
Abby, thank you. Stephen,
Thanks, Mr. Chair. So I agree a lot with Carrie's comments. I would take the 10 inches she mentioned, request a mud sill on this, get another 8 inches, round that up to 1.5 feet of decrease in height. The windows could definitely stand to get bumped out a size. Heights are fine to my eye, they're appropriate. If they're wider, and I think it's also atypical to have 2 doors that are the same, as one is the front and one is a kind of utility door. So I'd want to see that changed. It's more
Even
appropriate.
what elevations are those?
Looking at the north elevation,
North.
and
there's 2 doors side by side.
yeah, and lastly,
Got
I'm not comfortable proceeding with changes can be made, but I'm not comfortable signing off on this until we get a cross section of the site, front to back and left to right.
That it, Stephen?
Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Great. Okay, so for me, everything that the board members mentioned are things that are of concern to me. I think the idea, let's see, the west elevation, the 2-story narrow mass, the overall height, a few recommendations have been given as to how that might be remedied. The width of the windows, yes, they are even narrower than a Victorian window. So I think that Stephen has it when he says widen them. That would be the A windows. By the way, I should have prefaced all that by saying that I do appreciate now this orthogonal geometry so much more than that last bit. And then most importantly, I don't think anyone at this table has any conception about how the grade is working here. So in addition to Stephen's sections, I personally would like to see topo existing and proposed on the site plan. I'd like to see dashed lines that show where the existing grade is on the elevations vis-a-vis the flat platform that you're creating. And then we can get to the whole idea, and Linda, if we're cutting, that's wonderful, but there's nothing, all we see is retaining wall. We don't see the height of the retaining wall, which way it's facing, etc. So that all really seriously needs to be worked out in the way that we are accustomed to looking at it, which is generally a topo plan and site sections.
'Cause that
The-
will be a separate application.
Well, no, the topo, we need to know about the topo
Right.
for the house.
Right.
So
But the
if you're
hardscape-
cutting, you know, the line, the dash line will be above your current line. If
Yep.
you're filling, it will be below the grade line that you have. So, yeah, of course, Abby, go ahead.
So one more suggestion, Linda.
Yep.
I was thinking about the front entryway there. I was wondering if it had a porch, like a wraparound that main mast might make the whole structure sit better on the.
Can't because
Well-
of the angle.
Well,
It'll be in the setback.
Well, I was just
Setback.
looking at the driveway is enormous. You don't have to have that driveway there. And if the porch made sense when you're reviewing it, I think it might make it sit. better.
We did try that, Mr. Chairman, through you. Except that when we extended it to the right, because the lot line is angled, it got into the setback. So maybe I can do it now that we've moved the house over, but we'll check that out.
Yeah, it doesn't have to, yeah. It's just a suggestion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It would bring the height down. Okay,
Sorry, I'm just looking at something here. Speaking of that. North.
we had it that way on the first iteration. that
No.
Got
okay.
in too far.
Okay. Look, I get the whole setback thing. All right, it looks like we're moving for some revisions. We were all pretty consistent and clear about what
Mhm.
those revisions were. May I have a motion?
Make a motion to hold for revisions and additional information, including topo, existing proposed, and site sections.
Okay,
Sounds good, Stephen. Thank you. On Stephen's motion, Abby,
Aye.
very good. Carrie,
Aye.
great. Stephen on your motion,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Hey, guys, should we,
hold the shed. It's
yeah,
not a big
I
issue.
think at this point, it's probably best just to have a track.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, and I'm not speaking for the board, I'm speaking for myself, that it's kind of shoehorned into that little corner, so you may want to think about that.
You may want to take another visit to the area and see the other sheds shoehorned
Okay.
into corners
right.
over there.
All right, but so officially, we're gonna have this track. May I have that
Mhm.
motion?
Motion to have the, is it a garage?
It's a shed.
A shed.
Shed.
Motion to have the shed track, the
Very
main
good,
house.
thank you. On that motion, Carrie,
Aye.
very good. Stephen,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
and I'm in favor.
It is a garage, but you might as well just call it
Okay.
what it is.
There's a building official sitting on this application, so be very careful what you say about garages and sheds.
It's a garage shed.
It's
Well,
a Jeep shed.
It's a garage
Oh,
shed.
I don't want to go down that road.
It's a
Ok-
garage shed.
Okay,
Garage
we're
shed.
on a new business, folks. And let's see. Linda, man, you are on a roll tonight.
Well, I wasn't
Uh,
here last week. I was in New Hampshire looking
yeah.
at colored trees.
Okay, so we're gonna move to new business. First up, fence revision at 6R Thurston Way. We do have 4 regular members and rotation. Joe, you've been so quiet for so long. I think we should really have you sitting on this one,
Okay.
okay? All right, so let's go.
There
Fence-
should be a no-brainer here. You guys already approved this fence in the format that it is, in the location that it is. And the next door neighbor trespassed and took down all the
let's
30-foot
not
trees.
do the disparaging.
No,
stuff.
we've got it already know. That's why you have to know what happened. So what we'd like to do now is take our lot back before he tries to take that area and move the fence over to the property line, which is another 6 feet. But the exact same fence,
Oh,
exact same
No, I had
distance
a
is
que-
moving.
okay, Linda, got it. I have a. Okay. Does everyone understand what Linda's doing here?
Vaguely with her
Vaguely.
explanation. But I think this fence probably got approved, Val Oliver.
Thanks, Val.
Got approved because it was up against vegetation and now it's wide open. So it would make me happier if there was some sort of vegetation along the length of this fence somehow.
Yikes.
So that's the operative question here is, it looks to me, Linda, like in moving it 6 feet in and of itself, if it's already approved, it should be a no-brainer. But if you look at the photograph, it looks to me like you're moving it from the interior side of an existing privet hedge to the exterior side of that same privet hedge.
No, the privet hedge is gone.
It's
The
all
whole
gone.
length is gone,
It's all gone.
except for back where the house is, where the house starts. He tore it all out.
Okay, so I see a big red aerial photo with a red mark that shows a privet.
It's not privet anyway. It was a very old Leland cypress.
Okay, well, whatever it is,
Arborvitae.
you're saying it's gone now since they took this
Well,
photo.
so regardless, Val Oliver again,
Thanks.
some kind of vine or something we usually require just to mitigate the solid wall of fence.
Well, we, as you know, really don't care what the neighbor has to say, but from your point of view, it's different.
These are your board members speaking, okay?
Yep.
So Val is interested in seeing some vegetation on the neighbor side of the fence, right, Val?
I think on their side too, but that's just me. It's a
Well, there was
long
nothing
fence.
required
Okay,
on
so
the
on
other
both
side.
sides of the fence.
Well, hang on. There was nothing required on the driveway side. and It was fully visible. It
Linda,
was
let's-
fully
let's-
Just
visible.
gonna
let's try and
argue
cut
everything
through
anyone
this. Yeah,
said.
No,
okay.
just put it on the neighbor side. if
All
you want.
right, so that Val has spoken. All right, who's next?
I'll go.
Thank you, Stephen.
Agree with Val and, our guidelines are every other section, so I think you can do it alternating sections on each side and everybody will be happy.
Alternating sections.
Yeah, on each side, they could be alternating. They'll be alternating on one side in terms of planting, not planting, and then on the opposite side, you can skip to offset which one is being planted and which one is not. And those are my comments. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Stephen, thank you. Abby?
Yeah, I agree with what's been said. I thought the solution was to, buffer that. That's a lot of wooden fence, and with some greenery, shrubs every 6 feet or
Every 8 feet sections.
something like that.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
Abby, thank you. Joseph?
I have a clarification question.
Hmm.
If that's our requirement, then this fence ends up being what, 3 feet off the property line? 2 feet off the property
Yeah.
line?
I would
No,
rather not.
The vegetation doesn't have to be wide. It doesn't have to be privet. It could actually be like climbing hydrangea or something like that that takes up almost no space.
But we
Okay.
still have to go on the neighbor's property to keep it going. And this is our problem at the moment.
Yeah, you don't
Mr.
have to do that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Stephen.
if I may, yeah, just notch under the fence, put it in the, just do every other section and notch the fence so the plant will grow up. It's really simple. It doesn't have to take up additional space.
The fence is already there, right?
Oh, yeah, there's such a thing called a oscillating tool, a sawzall. I mean, I don't know.
You're penalizing him for something. I just have to say it for him. You're penalizing him for something he
Hey.
didn't do.
I first of all, if I may, through Mr. Chair.
Wait, Stephen, I'm sorry, I got to interrupt just for a moment. The fence is where it is without our approval, right?
It's
am I-
approved
am I
where it
right?
is now.
What?
It's approved, the whole
No,
length
but it
of
was approved 6 feet further away from the property line. It's
Yeah,
not-
because we had planting, which is now gone.
Okay, so Stephen, continue.
Yeah, my understanding, looking at this and what was presented was that the landscape material was taken down and the fence was being moved. So either it is being moved or it's up without approval. So I don't understand what the issue is.
The issue is that you're asking us to plant the west side when you didn't ask us to plant it before, and it was fully visible the entire length.
Well, no, actually, Mr. Chair, what I've suggested is a way to plant both sides simultaneously with the same plant.
I know, yeah, all right.
Okay. Hey, Linda, you just got to go with this one. Trust me,
Yeah, I mean.
Val.
Through you.
Yes.
So it's gonna notch, Linda. It's gonna stay where the big bushes are in the back and
Yeah.
then notch over.
That,
So it will need horizontal.
no, goes all the way back, but he didn't cut down what was behind, back where the house is. He only cut down what was next to the driveway itself, the main part of the driveway. Everything beyond that is still there.
So could I just,
Wait,
you got
wait, I want
stopped
to make
at that
sure that
point.
Val, has she, Has
So
she
is that
answered your
part of the
question?
fence moving as well?
No. We
So-
can't because the planting's still
So
there.
you have a section,
A slight dip, yes.
have a section back here.
Yep.
And then it's gonna notch over to move over the 6 feet and come this way. Is
Yep.
it gonna be a horizontal number or nothing?
It's a small section, so I don't think it's gonna be that much. It's probably maybe 3 feet and then it will go back and come this way.
No,
it's gotta be a section.
Yeah. But it's probably only 3 feet wide
Yeah.
because it angles off
So-
right there.
The fence will notch. The fence will jog.
and it jogs 3 feet?
That way. Here's the
Yeah.
other thing. We don't have to touch the back at all and we just run the fence up on this side. So they're like this and not like this. They're just this. Because the one in the back is almost impossible to see because it's so far back. It's 100 and some odd feet off the road.
Wow. Linda,
We'll figure it out. in the
Linda,
field.
I thought you said the fence was already installed.
It is, but the
Alright, so
back
it's
part of
just
it
a-
is not visible. This
No.
part of it is.
So it either has a notch right now or it
No.
doesn't have a notch right
It doesn't
now.
have a notch. It goes straight back.
Can we get some photos of the
They're all
existing?
photos in
Is
the
this-
file. In the
well,
file.
You know, no, well, all the photos are completely misleading because I thought that there was still a hedge there.
No, keep going. There you
Okay,
go.
There we go.
So the back fence, which you were allowed to go to 6 feet, most of it still has the trees because we caught them and stopped them. So if it's gonna jog over, it'll jog over probably where the trees start or end.
Maybe they thought it was their trees.
So this fence that's up is in the previously approved location.
Yes.
Yeah,
And he cut everything down that looked like that in the back, which was really old growth from when they first did Thurston's Way.
Mr. Chair,
Stephen, go.
just through you, if I may. So this is Linda, this is an existing condition currently as shown, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so the fence is going to move,
to the right.
correct? So there was a comment earlier, I thought, that said that the fence was already up, indicating that it was not going, there was no way to address the landscaping concern if you were to plant on the neighbor's side. Again, I'm not suggesting you plant on the neighbor's side, but that is still an option. Thank you, Mr.
No.
Chair.
He'd
Thank
like to move it over so they
Oh.
can't try to take it by adverse possession. So he wants to move the fence to the right, so the property remains on his side. And if you want us to plant on both sides using the same vine, that's probably the easiest way to do it.
Okay,
My guess is the growth was there when they bought the house and the people probably thought it was theirs.
Probably.
I
But
mean,
it
they've
wasn't.
been there way longer.
No, these are new owners.
okay, this is running amok, but
I know,
Yeah.
it is.
This fence.
Yep.
In
Yes,
3 feet.
yes.
no, 6 feet.
6 feet. Yeah, 6 feet.
Okay, so like towards the end of this shadow, whatever.
Yeah, you can see the bound right there on the right.
Back, dog legs. over,
Yes.
Yes,
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
yes.
And you're going to
Yeah.
vegetate the other side for the neighbors or something.
Well, that's what I'm hoping that
I have
the
a-
motion will be.
I have one more question.
Joseph, last
Um,
question, then I
I just
wanna
want to make
vote
sure I
to go.
understand this because I wasn't on the previous approval. According to the site plan, it looks like there's 38 feet of 4-foot board fence and then 95 feet of 5 and 1. But
That's-
I don't see any board fence.
The
No,
4 and 1 or whatever.
And the reason why I asked is I was thinking, well, the shorter fence, the 38 feet of the 4-foot board fence is probably fine without any vegetation. But when it transitions to the 5 and 1, the vegetation seems appropriate. But
that's all the
this-
way in the back and the
but-
vegetation still exists.
Linda,
But,
stop.
but this photograph shows a 5 and 1 running the full length of the property.
No, look at the other picture. Go back one.
Hey, Paul. Joe,
No
the
problem. Paul.
5 and 1 is in the back, that's staying. This
This
is
is the 4.
probably a 4 and 1. The one in the front, the one that they're moving. It's lower. You know, it's lower than the one in the back. You see what I mean? But it's not a board fence. It's a 4 and 1 fence. Okay,
Okay.
all right. All right, folks,
Motion,
thanks.
motion to approve with the following conditions, circle condition on the COA and write in. Plant a vining plant, every other section. That's it.
Okay, everybody got that?
On
Was
both
that
sides, both sides.
Stephen?
Both
Yeah.
sides.
Yeah, for visible from both sides, so you're
Okay.
gonna end up
Visible
not.
from both sides. Great. Thank you for the motion, Stephen. Okay, on Stephen's motion, Val,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
thank you, Joe.
No.
No. Stephen, on your
I'm
motion.
an
Sorry, you're a no? Stephen? Did you disappear?
Thumb up or
Yeah,
thumb
put your
down,
thumb
Stephen.
Put your thumb up or down.
Thumb up or down. We can't hear you. Up.
That's up.
He's
Up.
an up.
Okay, and I'm in favor, so the motion carries 4 in favor, 1 opposed.
This is what happens in Florida.
Yeah,
No, it's-
wow. Okay, so let's move along now to
Yeah,
1
ancient
East
ruins.
Lincoln window replacement.
Yes.
Who do I have now? Carrie back?
Connie in the rotation. Assuming Stephen's back with us. I want to make sure of that before we
He may have to come in and out again.
begin.
Are we on East Lincoln?
Yes. Hey, do we have,
Do you want to check to see if he can speak up there?
do we have Mickey or somebody?
I'm
Mickey's
here.
on. Okay, great, thanks.
Well, I object again because it's not
Okay,
in the
no,
old
fine,
historic
fine,
district.
fine. Okay.
He has no standing at all.
Stop.
I'm gonna keep going.
Let us stop. No,
They
didn't.
will.
Okay. Hey,
We already looked at
let's
the
bring
act.
it in, everybody. Okay, let's see if Steven's on, because if he's not, I gotta get two.
How do we
you-
lose him again? We lost him again.
Okay, Steven, you're rebooting, so I'm going to have two alternates on. So it'd be Connie and Carrie. Okay, let's go.
Hold on. Okay, we were glad to see this. I didn't think it was 1960, but the GIS has it as 1960. Probably because one of the additions was on there, but that's all I came up with, the one in 1960, but I like these new Form Bs. I think they're great. So it was from the 1920s with a lot of those little bungalows on East Lincoln between, I think, is it Walsh and Walsh and North
Lincoln.
Water Street, North Beach Street. Yeah, over there and Walsh over here. It's on the corner. These are not the original windows. I put a whole window schedule in there painstakingly. Not even the diamond windows are original. They've got a lot of plastic to them, but what they want to do is take these old Brosco windows out, which are rotting as usual after 20 years, and replace them with Boston sash wood windows, double pane, so we don't have to have triple tracks on this structure. And it maintains the wood Nantucket profile, and it makes it look a lot better and a lot safer. We're going to take the diamond windows out anyway and rehab them and put them back in. So they're not going to be new windows. Doors have been changed already. I don't know, at some point, but, and they got a new porch on the back, which I've got pictures of right there on the bottom of the screen you see there. And that's pretty much it. The same profiles, which are mostly 12/12s, which is unusual for a structure this small. And we'll go from there, but no change in the rough openings. No change in the white trim, no change in the double hungs. We just like to get rid of the rotting Broscos, and most of them don't have triple tracks anymore. So the wind pours through there down on Brant Point, which is kind of tough for this house. We had to replace the roof as part of this. It's wood now. And that's pretty much it. We'd like to go to the Boston sash. Double glazed, no
Okay,
triple tracks.
all right, Linda, thank you. Holly,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yes, for the record, this is a circa 1926. We have a draft Form B due to our survey work. Thank you very much. Do not go by tax assessors. Built by Elmore Swain. He actually built quite a bit of spec structures in this time frame. And I believe there's 3 other ones along Lincoln, East Lincoln here.
Yeah.
Number 2 and number 3. So this is for window replacement to SDL. Obviously, age of this dwelling is important. Built when speculative building on Brant Point was big. Appreciate retaining all existing pane configurations, even the diamond windows. The only major change to this cottage was a rear porch addition from 2021 shown in the packet. Appreciate the window survey photos included in the packet. Some windows look like they can be restored, as the diamond ones will be. Appreciate the wood gutters and roof like kind repairs. However, I don't see photos of the characteristic blue window shutters. Were those being replaced? I wasn't.
We're going to try to
concerned.
repair them first. So it'd
Okay.
be a like kind.
And although not within the OHD, there should be a discussion on these windows. Linda mentions that they're not original. I did went to the site and took a look at it. At least the windows along the facade look original to me. And I also wanted to mention that characteristically, this structure fenestration consists of 9/9s and 12/12 wood sash. So those are my comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Just to confirm, those front windows are plastic plastic tracks. Newer hardware, et cetera, et cetera. Now the only ones I think that may be older are the diamond ones.
okay, thanks.
They're all the same era, by the way.
Holly, thank you. Mickey,
Yes, thank you. So I'm Mickey Rowland. I'm representing the Historic Structures Advisory Group, which used to be the Historic Structures Advisory Board, and included in our group is myself, Angus McLeod, Jason Finger, Lucy Dillon, and Mary Bergman. So it does appear through the photographs that a lot of these have plastic tracks. Not sure if the original windows were replowed for plastic tracks, if the sash are actually original, or if they're new Broscos. So I think we kind of have to defer to the staff to as to whether their opinion as to whether these are original windows or not. And if they're replacement windows, we're okay with replacing them. So that's it. Thank you.
all right, Mickey, thank you. Okay,
Just to clarify, Mr. Chairman, we were looking for older tracks. We were looking for weight and balance from the 20s, which was common. Zippo, plastic.
well, yeah, there's certainly a lot of
And not old plastic.
plastic tilt takeouts. Yeah, okay. Who would like to begin?
Oh, and the windows don't fit. When you open the bottom sash, the lock rips the death out of the upper sash. So they don't even fit in the structure when they were replaced. They weren't original, which would have all worked.
Okay. We have Joe, Val, Carrie, Abby, me.
Hold on. You had Connie on it, so you want to take
Oh, I'm
Connie off?
sorry. Connie, Val, Carrie, Abby, me.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's why I take notes.
Joe should be.
Okay. Okay, so Joe, you're actually on it. All the alternates. So Abby's off. Joe
Okay,
is
hold on.
in.
Got it. Did we get Steve back?
do you need to-
No.
Steve's not back.
Okay. Is he back? I see his face.
Well, but he's not on this application.
Okay.
Definitely not. Anybody ready?
I'll go.
Thanks.
Personally, I think the ones closest to the street should remain. But a precedent was set in town recently for accepting SDL, so I want to see what everyone else has to think.
Okay,
Depending on, I mean, we don't know about the Boston sash and how those are. We don't have any picture of those, but
They have a Nantucket
the,
profile. That's all we
the
ever
ones
use,
that were acceptable, I guess were acceptable because of the,
profiles.
I guess,
but,
town building.
no, but Boston sash is essentially the same as, it's the same profile as a Brosco window, which is historic.
But they're SDL.
The same
Yeah.
thing. They've all those companies, including Brosco, I think, are now doing SDL with the same Mutton profile.
Yeah.
So you want to hold for a little while, Val? Or you,
I'm just simply making a statement. I want to see what you guys think.
okay. Who's ready?
I'll go. It's just a little bit of a quandary because the age of the house. But this is not the historic district proper. So we're in a little gray area. It is very close to the street, so you could stand in the street and see that it's double pane, and I wonder if what Val just said is just those two front windows remain as TDL and the rest. But that also sort of doesn't sit right with me either.
And I got
because
triple tracks.
an SDL and a TDL, if the profile is exactly the same, then great. You can mix and match, so to speak, and have the TDL on the front to be authentic to the 1920s cottage. And then the rest can sort of come up to energy efficiency. But it's just, this is very close to the street and the age of the house. I mean, it's 1920, that's 100 years old. And it's sort of an iconic builder and a very traditional little house. So I think I would be amenable to that.
You understand there'll be just
Hang on.
triple tracks.
No, I was
on the
gonna
street.
bring that up.
Yeah, that's gonna look terrible.
I'm gonna bring that up.
because this-
One will have storm screens, the two on the front will have storm screens, the other ones won't.
Yeah, that would sort of stink.
Yeah.
But let's hear the rest. Joe, are you ready yet?
Sure. Just so I could understand this here, the diamond windows that are on the front, I'm looking at the east elevation or the east photo. Those are going to be repaired, both the ones that are in the gabled addition and underneath the porch, right?
There are 4 of them. There's
Okay.
one under the porch,
Yeah.
2 in the front. I
I'm-
think there's one in the back.
Refurbished.
Yeah, I think given these 2 large windows that look oversized double hungs with the small panes, and having looked at the Green Mountain windows that we looked in, that we approved for town and the Mutton profiles, I would love to see the triple tracks go away, especially with these shutters. Because you see shutters with a triple track and you think
Destroys the
those
illusion.
don't work,
But
but
those are Green Mountain. Does
Oh.
Boston Sash make an inset
Yeah.
storm?
An inset storm? You don't
You don't need a storm.
Insulated glass.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah. We use them all the
So-
time.
Okay.
Like the 2 layers of glass, that's why you have a storm.
Right, but I'm
window.
saying if those are TDLs, does Boston Sash make an inset storm like
They're gonna be triple
Green
tracks.
Mountain? Because that's what you had just said, Green
Well,
Mountain
no,
has
the-
that
No,
the
no,
Green
No.
Mountain, you would,
insulated glass.
insulated.
yeah, it would be you'd
but
have
this is gonna be
insulated
Boston
glass
Sash.
with,
Okay, I understand now, sorry.
Okay.
Had you finished, Joe?
yeah, sorry, now I'm confused. The windows that you're proposing to put in place here are what manufacturer?
Boston Sash, SDLs.
Okay,
And the panes are so small, you won't be able to see it anyway. So
and do you have a Mutton profile of,
it's the Nantucket profile. That's what they call it.
okay,
Can I-
Marvin,
I
everybody the
really-
same thing.
You know, I've used Boston Sash windows like 500 times.
Times.
And what they have is a putty glaze exterior profile. The interior profile, which none of us should be concerning ourselves with, is exactly like the interior profile of a 100-year-old window.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's just the way they do it. But the exterior is a putty glazed profile. It's just straight back,
Mhm.
like a really simple window. That I can tell you for sure.
For the insulated glass.
Yeah.
For the insulated glass.
And I've
correct.
used them in the old historic district several times.
Yeah, I would, and you're not gonna have storms. I think that's gonna look better with these shutters for this house.
Yeah.
And be more appropriate.
Okay, Joe, thank you. Connie?
First, I want to say I really appreciate reading the history on this
Yeah.
house. I'm not sure who provided it, but it was fascinating. That was very well done.
find it?
It's part of the
was-
survey work going
it
on
was-
now.
Plus it was emailed, right? Yeah.
They're tenacious.
Yeah.
So if I'm to understand, the diamond windows will be rehabilitated or whatever.
Refurbished, yeah.
Refurbished. I'm not sure. I don't really think I have a problem listening to everyone talk about these Boston windows if they have a Nantucket profile. I think they might even add to the value of the house if we're saying that there's plastic and you said that they're all wooden. So yeah, I don't really think I have too much of a problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other comments? Because I think I've probably already
So-
expressed my view, which is I'd rather look at the insulated glass on the double hung windows and not have to look at the triple track storm windows than the other way around. So, and I am familiar with Boston sash product, which is sort of the heir apparent to Brosco windows back in the 60s.
Oh, bites your tongue.
What's that?
Brosco windows are terrible.
And I'm in favor of refurbishing, of course, as everyone is, the diamond shaped windows.
Great.
So that's me. Would somebody care to make a motion on this one? Oh, you guys.
I motion to approve as submitted. Isn't that
Does the submission include refurbishing the diamond windows?
It does, yeah.
Yes.
notes
Okay, we're
around
all-
that.
On the
okay, we're
verbiage,
clear on that.
yeah.
Okay, then, so, that's Joe's motion on Joe's. Oh, we're all at the table, so all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Convinced.
Any opposed? Okay,
I'm sure.
that, you want to abstain?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 4 in favor, 1 abstention.
Thank you very much.
All right, so 16 Willard railings. By the way, this is a famous one. Now, Holly, did you get the sheet on this house? 16 Willard?
How famous can a new house be?
So apparently it was built in like 1992 by a very famous architect who sits on the HDC board right now.
So you recusing perhaps?
No. I have no interest, like, I don't even know who owns the house now, to be honest with you. Do you want me
Okay.
to recuse? If you want me to
Not really,
recuse, I'll
but I just
recuse.
want you to be comfortable.
I'm very, very comfortable here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who is sitting?
Okay, well, so where's Steven?
He's right there.
Steven's back. Okay,
Talk, Stephen, so we can hear you.
Steven, can you just say hello?
Yay.
There we are. Steven's back. Back and better than ever. So, Abby, are you back? Okay. I mean, we do have our regular board. Okay, so to answer Linda's question, we have our 4 regular members. And let's have Connie sit on this one. Because
Okay.
our rotation has gotten totally fouled.
And it's only the beginning.
All right, here we go.
Simple, 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 simple. We're adding a railing down the front steps because they're in the dark. It's very difficult to see there because there's no lights down there. Not down onto the granite steps, but just down the wooden steps off the porch, then a 36-inch railing across the front and down one section, because then you run into French doors. And then we're changing one in the very back, which you can't see. We're changing a window to a door. And then we're just expanding the existing granite step off the porch. End of story.
Okay,
And every house on that street has a railing just like it. And
Oh.
mostly I couldn't really do it when I fixed the drawings, but there are big hedges in front of that railing on the porch.
okay. Linda, thank you. Holly,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually had 2004, so if you're saying it was 99, then
It's
I
2004.
okay. I was
Big
funny.
difference.
non-contributing structure on Willard Street. Trying to discern between the photographs and the drawings. However, at the end of the day, I think the proposal is consistent with its design and I have no concerns. It's appropriate.
Okay, Holly, thank you. Mickey,
Yeah, well,
Object again, it's not an historic
hang
structure.
on, Lynn.
we have no concerns. However, the elevation, the east elevation says type 2 cat picket railing.
That's okay.
So, you wouldn't put a railing, that kind of cap on a railing on a house, you do it on a fence. So just a normal standard railing would be more.
Yeah, it's a
That's a
normal,
mistake,
normal
right?
standard railing.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mickey, thanks for pointing that out, but maybe we'll just have the language change.
Yep.
Okay, there you are, folks. Comments.
I'll go.
Thanks.
I thought it was pretty straightforward as well. It was the site plan that threw me. I didn't know what was going on because this has got a whole bunch of hardscaping on it. So that's what confused me.
Yeah, we had to use the old site plan.
I wish it just said that or something.
Mhm.
So I
That's
have
why I
no
highlight.
concerns with the railing.
You no concerns with the railing. Okay, next.
I have no concerns.
All right, Abby's got no concerns.
Okay. Is it
Uh,
Stephen?
Stephen,
I'm ready for a motion.
all right,
Oh.
Connie, you good?
No concerns. Yep.
All right. Who wants to make that motion?
I will motion to approve is submitted.
Very good. All those in, up, sorry.
Oh, changing the language, just cross
Yeah,
out
just
what you
strike
wrote there.
that type 2 fence.
Yeah.
Which just do it.
Just
Yep.
cross it out.
Manually,
Don't
we'll
make a new
trust.
copy.
Okay, so, hang on, we're in the middle of a vote. Okay, so Stephen made that motion, right, Stephen?
Val,
Oh, Val made the motion. Abby on
Aye.
that motion. Stephen,
aye.
very good. Connie,
Aye.
good, and Val,
Aye.
and I'm in favor.
Thank you
Motion
very much.
carries. Okay,
Am I like done now?
what?
Am I
You're-
done?
You're done. You're done.
Mark is here and his is super easy.
Okay, yeah, and I'm leaving in 15
Yeah.
minutes, so I'm gonna forego pizza, but like maybe we can do a little bit of a rotation. So don't feel guilty about going back and having pizza at all. As long as a few of you linger around to actually do the work we've been tasked with here. Okay, so we're gonna move along to 11 Chatham. Garage. Let's see. Stephen, you're not having any pizza, so I can rely on you.
Ken,
And we'll go Val, Stephen, Ray, Joe, and Connie. Okay? There we go. Mark, hit it.
Yes, this is proposed to be simply a garage with empty space above at the moment, in the short term, perhaps in the long term. The offspring of this client will build out the upper floor of the garage into a small apartment. So it was designed with that in mind. It sits quite a ways back behind an existing barn like structure that is actually an art studio. And it is completely wooded behind it so that the side that the deck is on is into the woods. And so it's very limited visibility and it's pretty straightforward.
All right. Mark, thank you. Comments from the board?
I thought it should be on consent. We just probably didn't get able to do consent, so
Okay.
it's easy, simple, perfect,
All right.
appropriate.
Appropriate, yes. Joe, Connie?
I think other than the green railing and the red windows and the yellow,
That's fine.
I
Did that
have
for
no
you.
problems with it. I think it's appropriate.
All right,
I like the scale.
thanks, Joe. Connie?
No concerns. Thank you.
Okay, Stephen?
No concerns.
All right, can I have a motion?
Motion to approve is submitted.
All right, there it is. On that motion, Stephen,
Aye.
Joseph.
Aye.
Connie,
Aye.
Val on your motion,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Thank you, Mark Avery. Nice. to-
Very much. Nice to see you all again.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, do we have anybody to rep Marine
that?
Home Center 138 Orange Street?
Yes.
We do. Okay, very good. Let's see. Hey, so same board. No, take your time. We're doing fine. So we have somebody on Zoom for Marine?
Yes.
Okay, great. Do we pronounce it Geraldo?
Yes.
All right, very good. You want to tell us what you would like to accomplish?
They just tried to push up back, bringing back the windows straight, not to have a door, and replace those all rotted windows and close some of the on the other side. Those big windows are all rotted. So then they're gonna be closed.
Oh, okay.
I was confused.
Are you suggesting, Geraldo, or hoping to get rid of the windows and have shingled walls? Is
On
that?
the left side, yes. The front side, the right side, they're gonna be still gonna be the same with replacing with new windows because they're all rotted. On the left side, they have some not flowers, seeds. So they don't want to have windows there because they have issues with mice. So we're gonna try to close those windows because they're all rotted.
So. Yeah, it's a little confusing.
All right. Yeah, so it's a little confusing.
Well, the left side and the right side is the front of the building, number 1 and 2. On one side, you got two windows.
Is this the
number one.
left side and the right side of the
Left
court
yeah.
parking courtyard where you pull in to get to the homewares section?
Correct.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so the left side and the right side, you're gonna replace the windows in like kind?
In like kind, yes, green.
Okay, and then
not like
where are you proposing having just shingled wall then?
that's the next building over by the garden side. Those are the garden side.
The garden side. Yeah, okay, so that corner where you have all the
That-
terracotta pots
Correct.
outside there.
And the plastic sheds used to be in front.
Yeah, and those
It is
plastic
usually-
sheds that you got rid of, thank you.
Yes.
So you want
So that
all
whole
of that to
side,
be
it's-
shingled behind the
That's
terracotta pots?
Correct.
I imagine.
Okay,
That building is no architectural wonder.
let's be careful what we say, you know.
Is it pre 75?
Maybe I did, I forget.
Mr. Chair.
So, Val's okay with it. Well, let me ask a question through staff, just because we all find this confusing. Should Geraldo assuming he's gonna get an approval here, should he submit like a plan, a partial plan or something? Identifying in plan what's gonna be shingled wall and what's gonna be windows that are replaced?
Yeah.
That
you-
would be extremely helpful, but I also did have comments for your
Oh,
consideration.
oh,
if
oh,
you
then
wanted to.
feel free. Go ahead.
So
Holly.
Marine Home Center, Marine Lumber, do want to remind everybody that it is, the site is contributing. It has been there since even before the 40s. This photo is actually from 1944 when it was Marine Lumber. And even the NHL data includes 1960s. But this application is very hard to discern, as we've all indicated. Elevation drawings would have been most appreciated. Are the pane sizes comparable with the existing ones that are being replaced? The existing windows on the corner being removed for shingles, but I have concern on that elevation because you have, it looks like, I can't tell, but is it CMU blocking that goes all the way up? Like there's inconsistencies of understanding what that's going to look like. And all of these changes are not on the back of the building. These are all in public way, visible from Orange Street. So I think drawings are needed and very important to discern this appropriateness. So those are my comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Holly, thank you. And Val just brought to my attention that there is a kind of site plan
Page 2.
plan,
Yeah,
page 2.
says closed windows.
Closed windows, get that part, and then Geraldo,
Yes,
when we say replace in like kind, we mean replace
Well,
in like kind,
the-
like the
the-
same size.
no, there's gonna be different size because the
They're gonna
windows,
be a
the
different
existing-
size.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so-
already submit the window schedule in there too.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
well,
hard
we
to
kind of need to
understand.
see it on an elevation. I mean,
Which
it's
is,
pretty clear, the shingled part, that's just gonna be shingle, but we sort of need to be able to see. Right now, it's 3 panes high, and I think I saw some document
Yeah.
somewhere that showed it as 2 panes.
yeah,
There it is.
you can see where it says closed window,
Yeah,
which is
all right.
that one's the one's who's gonna get all closed in.
Holly, go.
Those are the ones get closed with shingles.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the applicant, this is where I've concerned this is the elevation of these existing windows that are going to be removed and shingled. How is that supposed to be shingled? If you look at the bottom of the sill of those windows, it juts out. It's not shingled. Is that going to be all shingled? Like how is all that
The-
going to look?
Yes, everything in there should be shingles. And because the bottoms of that, they've been replacing and fixing it, and it's all rotted. So we try to fix all the problems there and shingle the whole wall.
Oh, boy.
Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah, this,
I got it.
they're not even the same size.
They're not the same size,
They're different size. They couldn't get the right,
which is actually
the
a
same
little
size.
troubling to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so board members first.
I just think that it needs more clarification, and now that we understand the window sizes are changing, that is my only concern. Less panes, wider.
Yeah.
Then it just doesn't read the same.
Right. Okay,
I'd actually.
Val,
be-
thank you. Joe.
I was gonna say I love these oversized windows. I know it sounds funny to say on Marine Home Center, but it feels like a storefront window and it's commercial, and even though there's stuff behind them. So I think converting those windows to shingled walls in the
Understand.
application, I don't have an issue with, but it's the oversized existing storefront windows. I'd almost rather
Brennan?
see you split them vertically and have the height be the same if you're having trouble sourcing a unit to replace them exactly. But the 3 squares high, I think is important.
Key, yeah.
Yeah.
You mean
And it's-
returning to the 3 squares high, like it is now?
Yeah. Well, and in part of this is, I think, due to lack of information. If there was a way to assess all of this at the same time in 3D versus piecemeal, that might help your argument.
Joe, thank you. And honestly, I kind of forgot who is on it. Stephen, are you there?
Yeah,
Stephen?
can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I get this where the windows are coming out. It's just gonna be a sidewall detail, so it'll be studded and sheathed and shingled over. It'll just be like, it's always been a sidewall, no window is there. I don't have a concern with it in the 3 locations that are proposed. Jerry, I think we're gonna need, you can get the flavor of the board. We're gonna need additional information. Along the lines of Joe's comment, I think given this is just a highly visible location, and I think replicating the size of those windows is important. I don't think an off the shelf is going to be appropriate or like, to the rest of the commission. So I'd support.
So try to match whatever height the window size we have there. That's what you meant?
That's what Stephen is suggesting, and that's also what Joe was suggesting, and it's also going to be what I'm going to be suggesting, which is
Okay.
that we go to the same height that's there now. In other words, a like kind replacement. But
Okay.
so let's see, Connie.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add. I also would be in favor of the shingled walls, but have concerns about the window replacement. Thank you.
Okay, Connie, thank you. Let's see. Connie, Joe, Ray, Stephen, Val. Did we get you, Val?
Mhm.
We got you.
Yep.
All right. So Geraldo, hopefully that gives you some clear direction. I think
Yeah, I can.
everyone is okay with you taking the portion of the building that's behind where you stack the pots and turning that to shingle. However,
Okay.
when you're replacing the picture units that go into the housewares, we want those to be larger sort of picture units rather than these horizontally formatted things. So
Okay.
should we hold for revisions or approve through staff or something? You know, what can we do? Geraldo,
Yes.
question for you. We have 2 choices. We can request revisions, in which case you go and you research and see what you can come up with in terms of windows, or we just approve this with like kind replacement of the existing windows on the housewares section. What would you prefer?
When you say like kind, they Marine want to
Like
put
kind
this
means
in
the same
with
size.
same wood. The same size. Yeah, I think we can go with the like kind. I'll ask
right.
him. If it's not, I'm gonna have to go back and put an amendment with it.
All right,
Whatever
let's
size
give
we
you a
can get.
like kind
Size.
approval, a like kind approval. And then if you have issues with that, just come back
Yes.
and we'll revisit it. But hopefully we don't have to do that and we can all move forward. Okay, does somebody want to do that for me?
I'll try.
All right.
Motion to approve, with like kind window replacement for size, but they can go to thermal, right?
Yes. And we're also in there approving the removal of the windows in the corner at the garden
Right,
center
where they want to
portion.
shingle up. So as submitted
Okay,
with windows being like kind where they wanted to replace them.
very good.
Through
All right. So
Through staff.
through staff. Thank you, Val, for the motion. On that motion, Joseph,
Aye.
Connie,
Aye.
Stephen.
Aye.
Very good. Val on your motion,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Okay, thanks, Geraldo. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Night. And
Night.
speaking of night at 6 o'clock, so I should go.
I have to sit off the next 2 because of
Now,
my customers.
Stephen, are you going to be good chairing? And Abby's here, and she just had some pizza, so she's raring to go. She wants to chair a few.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm good.
Right.
share as long as I got voice. Otherwise, I'm
Okay.
gonna
All right.
Babby's in.
So if he loses transmission, you just grab it, okay? All right, thanks, everybody. Night, night.
I also need to sit off
Thank you.
these next two.
You have to stop.
Yeah. I know,
You have to sit off as well.
'cause yeah.
So, let me just get set up here so I can see what's going on. We got two at Low Beach. Pin so I can see you guys.
Joe's there.
Joe, can you sit?
One, two, Joe.
Get back,
All
Joe.
right.
All right, so it's gonna be Abby, Joe. Did Val say she's off?
Yes.
It's my customer.
Okay, myself. After Carrie.
We
Connie
have
said
a
she's on.
four-member board, Mr. Chair.
You can
Okay.
only go, Ray, if you gotta go get a cocktail. No excuses otherwise.
No cocktail.
All right, cocktails.
It's all business.
Get a roadie, Ray. Okay, let's say, see what we got.
Hello, members of the board. Tobias Glidden here, 19 Low Beach. There's two structures on the property. Just wait for something to get in front of you visually. There's a newly constructed house that was built just last year. And then there's another house that was constructed some years ago. We're proposing solar on the older structure on the rear of it, and then on the new structure, we're proposing solar on the dormer and then on the porch and as well as the rear.
Mr. Chairman, through you, the file is corrupt, so it won't let us share. Hence why nothing's coming up on the screen.
Okay, can we pull up a second? Tobias, is the, I presume that you've got two applications. I only see one online. For the main house, is the secondary dwelling, secondary structure in the same packet or a separate application?
I would imagine it's in the same packet, but it could be in a separate application.
Okay, so I'm wondering if, Esme, are you?
If you can't
hold
pull
on.
it up, Chairman
Hold on,
Welch, I'm
Tobias.
happy to come back another night.
Okay, yeah, just hold on one quick sec. Esme, are you pulling from the same, are you pulling from the server or from the ones that were uploaded? Because
I
I'm
was-
viewing it.
Oh, I was pulling it from my server, but I could pull it from the view pack.
Yeah, and I see what's labeled main house, but it looks like it might be, I'm not quite sure what it is. So why don't we see if we can pull that up? If we can, we'll walk through it. And if we can't, we'll have Tobias come back another day.
There's this thing called paper. It's amazing, you know?
It's not carbon friendly.
I make up for it.
Yes. So this is, I have a photograph up here, photo B, that has both of the structures that are facing Low Beach Road.
Mhm.
And looking at your site plan, everything is on the rear of the smaller building, is that right?
That's correct. The building to the west.
Okay, Tobias. I'm sorry, Joe. Now that we've got it up, let's get everybody on the same page. Can we go to the locus, please? Which it includes, sheet includes a site plan. It's the one before, it's higher up. It just hasn't loaded, I think. Yeah, that one. Yeah, just give it a sec, maybe. The left is the locus and the right is the site plan.
If you scroll down, there is a Esmeralda, there's a couple photos as well. It helps.
Yeah, I want to get, we need to get a real clear picture of what we're looking at in terms of the location on the lot. Okay, Esme, will you give that another try at the top? Yeah, that's the one we want. All right, Tobias, I'm not real comfortable walking through this one, given its location, unless we have the site plan. So I think we
Mr.
might take
Chair,
it up. Yeah,
it's Abby. I was also wondering, we're kind of looking at it here and we're wondering if we could have a view on it.
okay, that solves for two problems. So Tobias, that'll give us a chance to get the file perfected, make sure we've got both applications turned in with downloadable and readable format. And we'll do a view in the meantime. Actually, if you could get those to staff, and then once we have them, we'll do the view. Do you have a motion for a view
That's my motion.
on your motion?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Carrie? And I'm an aye. Okay, so that takes care of those two. And to some extent,
And for the record, the view is for both applications.
correct. Yeah, that motion was for both. That brings us to 43 India Street, sorry. Janice Williams, roof replacement. And is Val back?
She's coming.
Okay, so it'll be, excuse me. Abby, Val, myself, and where are we in the rotation?
I'll go. You're having dinner.
I can't hear you guys.
Are we on
but
43 India?
Yeah,
Joe is the alternate. Joe is on the board.
Is that right? 2, 3.
and the other? We need
There's
two.
Abby, Val, and Carrie,
Carrie, okay.
and you.
Okay, yeah, no one. Yes, Carrie is our fifth. Thank you. Why don't we go ahead and start?
Mr. Chair, we don't have an applicant on there, but if it's any consolation, I don't have any concerns with this application. That it's a black roof, which is appropriate. It should be notated on the COA of its contributing typical Nantucket 1805. Other than that, I have no concerns.
Okay, and before we move on, was this given out for review for consents?
It might have been on the view pack that I sent a few weeks ago to Abby or Diane, but I don't remember.
Okay, thank you. Do any of the membership members and the sitting members have a concern?
I don't know. I'll make a
Okay.
motion to approve as submitted.
Okay, Abby, on your motion,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. All right. Go to 1 Jefferson, and you guys just tell me where we are in the rotation.
So it's Connie.
I could not find.
Connie
this
and Joe.
on money.
Connie and Joe.
1 Jefferson. It's the,
Is it up?
Who's chairing?
Who's that? Who's the applicant?
David Trost.
Is David with us?
Yep.
In person.
David, why don't you walk us through?
Okay, so this is a proposal to, the main feature
Yes.
is to replace an existing spa with a new spa that's a different shape and raised out of the ground by 18 inches. Whereas the existing one is flush with grade. The existing situation is it's all bluestone patio. We would keep the bluestone patio. And then there's also, there's an existing in-ground trampoline with fake turf around it that the client wants to get rid of and replace with decking. Wood mahogany decking.
Okay, anything else?
That's the brunt of it.
Okay, Holly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the structure on the lot is a 2018 infill, and it's located within the OHD. I did want to mention to the commission that in case anybody was inquiring, that a last town meeting spas were removed as a allowable use within the OHD. So I believe this existing spa would be considered a legal non-conforming use. I would recommend for the applicant or owner to contact the zoning office to make sure that reducing the size is appropriate and allowed. But as far as what's before you today to reduce the size, photos from the public way would have been helpful. It doesn't seem that it will be visible from Jefferson Lane due to the existing privet and cottage. It does seem rather large, still, especially within the OHD, and a lot of impervious surface that could be reduced. So those are my comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Holly. Just a note on the procedural matter. David, that is if it's prior non-conforming, there is going to be some other permitting involved, but as Holly suggested, take care of that through the plus and the zoning office. Are there any abutters? Okay.
No, sir.
Thank you. Mickey?
Yeah, I'm considering that this is a replacement of an existing spa. I guess we're okay with it as long as the visibility is, no visibility, period. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Who would like to begin?
I'll go.
Val?
I'm trusting that the hedge is gonna stay the way it is, so I guess we probably won't see any of it. Otherwise, I think the deck is rather ginormous right on the street, but I don't think we're gonna see it. And that's it.
Okay, thanks, Val. Abby?
Yeah, I had the same feeling about the deck being right on the street, and now I think the spot is being raised. So I have concerns about that as well. About the spa.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Joe?
I have no concerns given what I'm assuming is going to be a lack of visibility based on that privet, and that would be conditional upon an approval. Yeah, I have no concerns.
Okay, thank you. Connie?
I guess. I have concerns, but because of the visibility, I would go along with it as long as we put the caveat in there about no visibility at time of inspection and thereafter. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Connie.
Can I comment on a couple of those things just to clarify?
Yeah, David, hold on just a quick sec.
Okay.
I'll give you mine and then you can go, all right?
Yeah.
So given it's going to be raised, I think we need a top of spa and a top of the recirculating pool. I don't disagree with any of the other comments, and I'd also like to confirm that the new deck, wood deck material will be at existing grade or is this going to be raised 6 inches or what?
It's proposed to be raised 6 inches.
Okay,
So at the elevation of the step in the picture in front of the white doors there.
okay. Yep, just
Um,
wanted to get clarification. Okay, and then you want to go ahead and comment, please?
Yeah, just a couple things. I provided some photos from the outside supplementally, but I guess they didn't make it into the, but it's unless you got down on your stomach on the street, you can't see anything. It's an evergreen hedge that's existing and we're not touching that. That's staying in place. So it doesn't, it doesn't lose leaves in the wintertime. And then just on the spa, it is, at least the spa is in the very back portion of the lot, as far back as it can go. So I think, for noise and visibility, it's going to be hard to see that at all.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion that addresses the maintain and retain the evergreen hedge, please?
Sure, I'll make that motion to approve with the caveat the hedge has to be maintained forever and ever and ever and ever in perpetuity.
So not visible time of inspection and thereafter?
Yeah, that.
Okay, and the evergreen will be retained and maintained.
Yeah.
On your motion, Val,
I,
Abby,
Nay. Sorry, nay.
okay, Connie,
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Okay, and I'm an aye. And again, our approval is not zoning approval.
Yeah.
Next up,
Thank you.
and for the record, that's Abby is a no. You're welcome. So we got 54 Madaket Road, extend parking. Land bank. Is Eleanor with us?
Mr. Chair, Ella, I don't see Eleanor in the queue and she's not here.
Okay, so why don't we pass this one? It'll be held for representation. And we will go to 19 North Water. New dwelling. Is Matt there?
Yep, I'm here, Mr. Chair.
Hi, Matt. Good evening. Go
How are
ahead.
you?
Go ahead and start when you see this site plan.
Okay. Give me a second. You need to zoom out there. I believe we're lot 7. Yep, lot 7. So, okay, so just as a general introduction to the project, there's a total of 5 lots that the goal is to concentrate on those, which sits on White Elephant Way. I don't know if everyone's familiar with the context where this is. It's across the street from Lola. This plan was approved by the planning board, I think in 2015. And as part of that, the access to these lots is actually from the back of the back of the lots, so that there's no curb cuts on White Elephant Way. So White Elephant Way is the road that goes from South Beach Street into the main entrance of the White Elephant. So getting a sense of like the site plan, I think is like going to be helpful and important. But the primary goal here is that along White Elephant Way, these 5 lots, which will be single family residences, will front on that street. So we really kind of focus specifically on the street facade or the streetscape, if you will, of White Elephant Way, but then also on South Beach Street. And that's more specifically lot 11, which is right in the corner, which is the other structure that we're going to look at tonight. So I don't know if you can see in the site plan, which is drawing 8, there is the easement in the rear of the property, and that's where the parking is. So I thought that was a really great concept planning from the planning board, so that there's no cars parked in front of these structures. There is a sidewalk across the street, the primary sidewalk on White Elephant Way, and that's where majority of the pedestrian traffic will be walking. As far as the structures are concerned, we did a lot of research in terms of, context for the Brant Point area, McKay Way, Harbor View Way, Wall Street, and looked at a lot of historic, antecedents to kind of draw from, but then also taking into consideration all of the existing, more recent architecture across the street from White Elephant Way, and tried to be as contextual as possible. So we really did quite a bit of research, and I would say that there is somewhat of a distinct architectural language for this part of the island. So with that, we have actually designed all 5 of these structures. We're focusing specifically on lot 7 and lot 11 first. But I just want to make the point that we really studied the streetscape, and what we tried to do is not implore a strategy where you had design A, B, and C, and they were just, repeated, throughout. So every house is its own distinct design and draws from historic context. The site also sits within a floodplain, so we do have to elevate the first finished floor above the floodplain. Lot 7 is actually higher. The grade actually has a slight camber to it when you go from South Beach Street to the end of White Elephant Way. And so lot 7 is actually elevated higher, and therefore there's less, quote unquote, foundation exposed. So with that, the focusing specifically on this lot 7, it's basically a 1.5-story structure. It's got flush gable dormers, shutters, sash color is black, trim is a gray with a Hamilton blue shutter. We did review the Historic Structure Advisory Board comments about the color, which we're happy to change based on the board's recommendations. But again, all these structures are different, and so we've utilized a window type, which is the 2/2, and we've got corner boards. We do have a front porch, which a small section of it is enclosed. Again, we wanted the architecture to tell a story. We wanted these to be, plausible examples of historic structures, if you will. And so, we're kind of telling this story as if there's a front porch and then a portion of it had been enclosed. And again, a lot of these details were drawn from historic antecedents in terms of, rake details, flying rakes, plumb cuts, et cetera, et cetera. And so everything has a fairly different architectural style. And so with that, look forward to comments from the board, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Matt. First, I just want to comment before we go any further. On the rotation, is it Carrie and Connie, or is Joe in there?
Yes, I think so.
Carrie and Connie. So Matt, your board is Abby, Val, Carrie, Connie, myself, and Joe obviously is your alternate or associate should be needed in the future. Holly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yes, this is the former Harbor House cottages that was actually flanked on the original access point. And as Matt had mentioned, got approval at planning board. I actually remember it well. And with that, I wanted to mention that any of the structures that are having to be elevated should follow resilient Nantucket design guidelines, and we would want to have elevation certificate. And on that note, the fact that not all of them will be elevated, I think a streetscape is actually very important for this. The layout of these lots and subdivision was done by special permit by the planning board some years ago. That said, these are rear access lots with a common access drive. While the front is off White Elephant Way, the driveway is access for parking and entrance on the south. Since these lots are new infill within the OHG 5 proposed, I think it wouldn't be wrong for the commission to ask for a proposed streetscape instead of just proposed footprint of all of these. This would allow for a clear understanding of how these infill dwellings fit in with the new subdivision as well as the historic neighborhood within the OHD. So again, I would love to see an entire streetscape, as Matt had mentioned. Oh, didn't see that part. That is helpful. I think maybe one on would be great as well. And then as far as the architecture itself, one, I would agree with the advisory comments about color, but two, I would agree with Matt's interpretation of the area. There are actually some historic photographs looking from the Congregational Church Tower that show some larger structures, more of utilitarian structures nonetheless, but with these very pointed gable on the structure. So I think that is kind of bringing back towards the 1890s. Those are my comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you for both.
Thank you, Holly. Mickey?
Yes, we were pretty pleased with the general flavor of all these cottages. Well, in terms of specifically this particular one, we didn't really have anything specific about this one, but our comments are more about the siding and then just the consistency from one building to the next. First of all, this house in particular does not have a chimney, and I think that every house should have a chimney, and I think that would be appropriate on this one too. From what we could tell on the drawings of the other houses, all of the front doors seem to be almost identical. I think it would be great to mix up some of the doors, sometimes have more, just a variety of different Victorian style door types. The biggest concern that we had with this was more of the siding, the fact that there's no sidewalk in the front. And I think that to see a whole row of houses like this without a sidewalk is really unusual downtown. I'm not sure if there is such a situation with a sort of a formal approach to the street without a sidewalk at all. I would suggest that if there isn't room in the site, the depth of the site to slide the buildings back, they're pretty generous in plan. They could be probably condensed a little bit just to make room for pushing the buildings back 4 or 5 or 6 feet to allow for a sidewalk to run along the front. I guess we'll see this later on when the other houses appear, but we probably wouldn't want to see all of these houses to be exactly the same height or even really close to the same height. It'd be nice to see some variety in the elevation of some of them. So that was it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mickey. Who'd like to begin?
I'll go.
Okay, Val.
I think all in all, it's successful fitting in there with the Harbor House business. You know how they had all those buildings all knit together. My concern really is the overzealous gable pitch on the front of 14 on those dormers. I don't think that's necessary. And I like the idea of maybe a chimney would be great. And I'm also unsure about the roof walk. Maybe if it wasn't closed in, but that's it. And the color. I think the color should change too. But all in all, I think it's successful.
Okay, thank you. Abby?
Yep, thank you. I think the architecture is appropriate for the area, and I like the way it's varied. I do agree with the structure, historic structures, in that varying the heights. I think you tried to do that with the roof walk, but I'd like to see that so that they look a little more different from one to the other. I agree about the sidewalk, pushing that back, giving a little more generous room to the front of the building. And I'm not sure what I think about the front porch I'm just talking about 7 actually, but so that's, but in general, I think the layout of the buildings is too tight. And I would prefer to see more vegetation and gardens, as you would say on Easton Street or streets that are very nearby, even some of those streets going up to Center Street, like, Ash Lane and so forth. They all have a little more vegetation and gardens in the back. So I'd like to see that in general.
If I could, through you, Mr. Chair, just to that point, there is a landscape plan for both of these lots, and I would say that one of the most important parts of this project was also developing a landscape plan in a way that, provides, it's a really beautiful landscape plan. It's really lush and really incredibly well thought out. Fortunately, Mirka couldn't make it tonight. So we've asked to hold those and track with those, but they should be in your view pack. So if you get a chance, look at them, because it's really dense and beautiful. And there are perspectives we don't show the vegetation. So, but I would say just to look at that, because I thought she did an incredible job.
I'm referring to the space in between the buildings. That's what seems a little tight to me. And I'm not sure about the black sash and the gray and the light blue. It's not sure what I think, if I'm on board with that, but those are my comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. Carrie?
Thanks. I agree with quite a lot that's been said. I also just want to say, being on the end and being so tall, I don't think 10 pitch is necessary. I think you could bring the height down and reducing that. The rear mass is a 9. This should be a 9. Your shed as a 7 is not very traditional and in town. And it's going to the ridge. The dormer pitches, I think, are way too high. I think it's trying to read Victorian, but it's not in the massing, and it's sort of a little bit of a mashup to me. So I'd rather see some more traditional roof pitches. I totally think black is inappropriate here in terms of window color. Roof walk, I'm on the fence, but I think if there is one, it should not be, it shouldn't have a skirt, and there should be a chimney. I think that would help read as more appropriate in this area. And that probably will go for a lot of them. The comment by Mickey, I think, is really important. I can't imagine not having a sidewalk on this new street that is trying to fit into the historic context, and no sidewalk. It just seems really bizarre to me. And I think that maybe just some of the back porches can reduce by 4 feet to get one. I think that would be really important. And I'd love to see the landscape plan, because it is a lot of building, but I do appreciate the direction. It's just details.
Thanks, Carrie. Connie?
Yeah, I really don't have anything else to add. I agree with what's already been said concerning the chimneys, the sidewalk. I would like to see maybe a little bit of variety in the front doors, just to kind of mix it up a little bit, but I do think it looks overall appropriate for the area. Thank you.
Thanks, Connie. Matt, I think one of the things that's going to be really important, it's been mentioned, but I just want to reiterate, is a streetscape, and not just a streetscape showing the proposed structures as they're currently conceived by you all, but also to the left and the right of the array here. So that's concern number one. Concern number two, a lot of the concerns that were voiced, I agree with. This has more of a bungalow style look to it, these roof pitches, than a Victorian. So, which I'm not necessarily against, but I am concerned about the height at the, having this at the.
I think your microphone just went out.
We can't hear you.
Stephen,
You can use the chat.
we can't hear you. Should I take over? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, just come back in when you can. Who's left to?
Think-
Connie,
I think that was everyone.
did you go?
I did.
It was just Stephen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Darn.
I think I have
Well, yeah,
enough to go.
we're good to hold for, can I hear a motion to hold for revisions?
Could I just, Madam Chair,
Yeah,
just
yeah, go
really
ahead.
quickly about the sidewalk component? So there is a sidewalk on the other side of White Elephant Way, and I think the intention was that that's where the majority of the pedestrian traffic is, whether the town or whatever wants people to go. So we can look at ways to integrate that. We did do some research too, like on Lily Street, for example, there are certain sections that there is some like curbing, but it's not like full width sidewalk. So just want to keep that in mind, that part of the approval was that the sidewalk was on the other side of the street, but we'll take that under advisement.
Okay, okay. And do I hear that motion to hold for some revisions?
Motion to hold for revisions.
Thank you, Connie. On Connie's motion, Val
Aye.
and Carrie,
I,
and I'm an I, and I'm sure Stephen's in there too. So thanks, Matt.
Yep.
We're gonna, next one?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna go to
11.
11.
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
Do you guys want to alternate? Do you want, or should we keep the same?
Well, Stephen's not here, you need everybody.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
fine.
for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, terrific.
Sure.
Okay, this is our board.
Okay, with your permission, Madam Chair, I'll begin.
Fire at will.
Fire at will. So this is lot 11. I'm just pulling this up myself here. So this structure sits at the corner of White Elephant Way and South Beach Street. You can see that given the topography, like I said, if you go from South Beach Street to the end of White Elephant Way, the elevation increases. It actually goes up to a high point and then it starts to slope back down. But at this elevation, this is one of the higher, floodplain elevations we have to comply with. So with this structure, this ironically is also one of the smallest lots. And so this has one of the smaller footprints. But because the structure sits on the corner, we thought it was really important that it presented itself both on South Beach and White Elephant Way, but the primary entry and elevation be on White Elephant Way. But we studied a lot of different versions of, roof massing, and we found that this hip was both something that was found in the architectural context of, Brant Point. It's kind of a softer roof pitch. There's elements of it found throughout the area. And I thought it was a great way for the house to have presence on both these streets while not really turning its back on either one. There is a first floor wraparound porch. The bracket, there's the post and bracket detail is an attempt to pick up some of the language that's found at some of the existing White Elephant properties, specifically right across the street, which are fairly ornate in terms of their, railing detailing and post detailing. And so we try to really be as contextual as possible with some of those smaller details. There are exposed rafter tails, both first floor, second floor. Tried to tell a story with additive massing, specifically having the plate heights and ridge heights drop as the structure tiered down towards the back of the property, ultimately terminating in a one-story covered porch. It's cottage corners. There's some shingle flares at both the first floor and second floor level. So put a lot of work into this. And with that, look forward to comments from the board. Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Holly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just obviously same comments as before. I think streetscape for the entire proposal and what Stephen had said as well is how it reads in with the rest of the area in the OHD. I also just wanted to emphasize the fact that this is a corner lot, so that visibility on the, I believe it's east elevation is important, and appreciate the concept. I do appreciate that there's additive massing with this. Overall, I think this is a good style. It's different, two over two, but reading from Harborview Way, I think is important. So those are my comments, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. Board members. Oh, and Mickey, sorry. Go ahead, Mickey.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was muted. So our comments are pretty similar to what they were on the other one. The chimney, I guess there is a chimney on this, but it's in a secondary mass. I think it wouldn't hurt to, do I have that right? Yeah, it's in the back. It'd be nice, I think, to get the chimney in the forward mass, the main mass. Again, the door comment, mix them up a little bit more. And, regarding, again, the sidewalk, Matt brings up that there are obviously places throughout town where there aren't sidewalks in front of some houses, and that's certainly true. However, those are generally older, more isolated sections. This is a fully planned and organized new area, and I just say, and I'm confident of this, that this will look really unusual if there's no sidewalk in front. So I would strongly suggest that be added to the concept of all of these. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mickey. Board members. Anybody ready? Joe? Do you have
I'll
any?
go.
Okay, thanks, Carrie.
Just because I'm in a quandary about 2/2s everywhere. And this building and the last building we saw are so very different, but they have the same windows. So that's one thing. I just would like to know if they're appropriate on this hip style building. And then the gable on the front door entry and the little dormers. I feel like everything should be a hip to quiet the whole thing. I don't really think there's something commercial about some of these, and I feel like sort of making the entry a little more quiet on this particular one would be good. And I think a hip instead of that gable would be great with the white trim. And for now, that's it. I appreciate the massing. I appreciate the introduction of the hip roof system. And I like the railing detail because it's making me think history, but I don't think I've ever seen this particular one. So it might be interesting to see what other railing styles are actually existing in town, rather than creating a whole new language for the railing system, because there is a lot of it and it will be very visible. That's it for now. Thanks.
Great, Carrie. Thank you. Val or Joe?
Yeah, I don't mind going. I agree with what Carrie said with respect to the gable dormers. I think those would be more appropriate as hips. And I shouldn't say that, but this building, as compared to the last one, has more additive massing and some 1.5-story massing. I like the fact that it doesn't have a roof walk. I think the chimney on the rear L is probably fine. One thing that stands out to me is I feel like the side porch, the porch is basically like this element that feels like it's just masking the height, and it feels like you'd see a side porch that could be deeper or turn the corner with some kind of an element where the lot, where you've got some room in that corner. I think there's an opportunity to really animate that porch beyond just a walkway, but to really have it be a space that's engaging with the sidewalk. Mirka would lose some landscaping, but I think that it would help to soften the building. Was it, what street is that? Oh yeah, South Beach Street. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Joe. Val, are you ready?
Yeah. I don't really have a lot to add. I really liked this house. I really think this house massing is appropriate. It kind of reads as a 4 like that got added onto, so maybe 6/1 windows would be more appropriate. So I guess it's just marrying some of the language of a bunch of styles all together, because that probably wouldn't have a railing like that, although they do have a lot of railing in there like that. And then my only other comment is the really steep dormers on the rear lowest mass. I think you can eliminate those. You don't really need them. Just to keep it simple, but I think it's a nice style, nice building.
Thank you, Val. I agree with everything that's been said. I do want to reiterate, I think it is going to look very odd without a sidewalk. So I think we should probably try to fit that in. So do I hear a motion do you want any back comments?
No, I appreciate all the feedback.
Okay.
Not too bad.
No,
Not
no.
too bad.
I mean, we spent a lot of time.
Really
I
good
give
job.
Everybody a lot of credit, ownership, everybody. So, thank you.
Motion to hold for minor revisions.
Thank you, Joe, for that. On Joe's motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you. Thanks,
All right.
Matt.
I think I got one more.
Is that it?
I think there's, yeah. But they are in your packet. So
Yeah, I saw.
if you get a chance.
Oops.
It's gonna take forever to load.
Well, mine's about to die.
Is it hot? Is it warm in here? It's a little warm, no?
Are we 63 Hulbert?
I am. It's usually it's usually freezing right here with this.
Matt, is this 63 Hulbert?
Yeah. Yes, 63 Hulbert.
Okay. All right, whenever you're ready.
Sure, mine's downloading too. So, okay, so this is a project that you've seen previously. It's a structure that we were, renovating, lifting to comply with the floodplain. The parcel is, it's actually 2 parcels that are owned in common ownership. So this is the primary structure. So we've got through HTC, and during that process leading up to building permits, et cetera, the family's expanding. So there's some more grandkids coming. And so there's a request from the owners to see where we could capture some more square footage on this structure. And so the primary changes are adding extending the gable on, which is drawing 1 here, extending it, keeping all the existing details, roof pitch, rake details, eaves, window configuration, but extending it out by, I think, roughly 7 or 8 feet. So that's one of the larger changes. The front porch, we kind of simplified as well. Can we just stay on the front elevation for just a second? Thank you. Yeah, just 1 sheet back. Thank you so much. So simplified the front porch. We added a flush face gable, which you thought just gave a little bit more identity to that front porch. And then the other significant change is bless you. God bless you. The massing on the left. So again, both of these second floor expansions are an attempt to get some more square footage for more bedroom space. And so we did extend the secondary additive mass on the left. You can see where it's clouded. We've got 2 flush shed dormers, and on the first floor, there's just a 1-story shed roof, if you will. If we scroll down to the next sheet. So this is, you can see the comparative previous approval below. So you can see that in this elevation, this is where we're extending that front gable. And we've integrated some 3rd floor transom dormers to kind of help, break up that mass. Now, I know that we look at drawings in 2D, but the reality is we see these structures in 3D. So we've got some perspectives of the tail end of the presentation just to to demonstrate that compositionally, while we are making this gable, longer, I think it actually works with the overall scale of the house in combination with the other additions. We also propose to do a first floor 1-story infill, which you can see that's clouded in the center of the elevation. We widened the secondary additive mass, but it's still a 1.5-story structure, and then changed the first floor fenestration. One other thing I also want to point out is there's an existing deck. There's an existing deck basically off the back of the building. Because we're elevating the building, our proposal, we had a series in the previous iteration of a deck that was stepped down 3 or 4 steps and then it had a couple more steps, and it just got really busy. And where it's an existing deck, what we're simply looking to do is just elevate it. Now we do have a couple steps coming out of the back porch door, so it's not so high. But we will have vegetation around it. So it is a larger 1-story deck, but it is an existing deck space, if you will. And so our goal here is just to elevate it, and we did drop it lower than the finished floor, first finished floor, so it's not way up there. We did put in some perimeter plantings for scale, which there will be. So I don't know how visible this piece is going to be. From the water, you've got a dune, you got a lot of vegetation. So I feel like the visibility of this deck, while large, is not really going to be that visible. So we can scroll to the next slide. So this is we refer to the rear elevation. You can see the previous, actually, I think it's the next, it's sheet A 2.3. There, thank you. So 2 things. You can see the previous approval. The deck is, in my opinion, simpler and more successful. So there really aren't any first floor elevation changes with the exception of the addition, again, the north elevation to the right. We did actually reduce the amount of fenestration slightly, or changed it and simplified it. Previously, we had, a larger second floor deck, which we've reduced in size and scale, just because we thought it was a bit more simple, if you will. So we've got the double French units, and then we've got these flanking kind of smaller scaled windows. But that deck did get smaller, in my opinion, simpler. And then I think the last elevation, which is A 2.4, which is the west. This is the next slide. So you can see that gable in the center of the mass is that new second floor addition. It's actually fairly small in scale in terms of its plate heights, but it will actually translate into a big pickup in space on the second floor, which is one of our goals. You can also see that we've integrated a 1-story shed mass. So again, I do like the way that the existing structure tiers down, if you will, in terms of its massing schematic. We made some minor fenestration changes to the first floor elevation, but not too dramatic. Again, you can see the extension of that front gable, which again, we looked at options where that gable dropped to 1.5 stories or changed. But in my opinion, because that front gable is the existing condition, we just didn't want to change it or try to alter it. We're certainly open to any suggestions you might have, but we thought that this was the most sympathetic solution, in addition, that gives reverence to the existing, structure while adding on to, where we need to for square footage. I think the final sheet just has some perspective shots. These are, again, minus any real vegetation, but I think that if you look at, some of the perspectives, you'll see that I feel like compositionally, just lost the feed. Oh, there we go. Compositionally, I think it works, but with that, look forward to comments from the board. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Holly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So for the record, this is a contributing about 100-year-old sandy side. You all did approve a historic determination. We do have an updated Form B that's being approved by the Massachusetts Historical Commission on this colonial revival. And with that, both the pre-approved elevations and floor plans with the previously should be provided. So for instance, as a historic structure, it should show a sequence of existing previously approved and then what the proposal is, should be consistent. The new waterside deck is not indicated as proposed. It's shown in the elevations as proposed, but on the site plan, it's not reflecting that way. So that would be something to revise. Also, the additional additions, I want to bring this up. I brought it up before and you're probably like, but they seem to possibly be exceed the limit appropriateness under the Secretary of Interior standards. So again, I think it would be important to know exactly where the historic structure started, where the previously approved additions were approved, and then the proposal to really get an understand of that square footage and the massing that's changed. Because again, this is approximately 100-year-old colonial revival. On the south, with the addition of the left, it looks lopsided. And again, this historically was an off-center, and the changes made it so it's right in center, which is obviously something the commission allowed. But the addition to the right, which is in the back, it's non-obtrusive, and I think it's de minimis. The previous approved seemed to be more successful. And again, I'm concerned on where this structure, being a contributing historic structure, where it's going with the additions being proposed, and where does it, kind of not retain that. So those are my comments, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Mickey?
Yes, so the two gable extensions are the big concern. They're the one to the side, are both of these extensions extend existing two-story gables well beyond comfortable limits. The one on the left, the one coming forward is definitely sort of, it should be more of a main mass appearance, but it's really the size of a secondary additive mass, but now it's getting longer and even more awkward. I think that whole front addition really should stay just the way it is. Extending it further to us was a problem. So the side one, I think it's a similar condition with extending a kind of a narrow gable a little bit too far. It just feels sort of awkward. That would be appropriate as a one-story addition. It might help the massing to some degree, but as a two-story extension to the side, it just seems too much. And also regarding the deck on the water side, just too big, too visible, elevated. It's a huge deck right on the harbor. So that seemed to be a little above and beyond too. So thank you.
Thank you, Mickey. Val? Or
okay, I can go. I agree with a lot of what Mickey said, visually. So for me, the front now, the little gable coming forward looks like it's tiny compared to this, this deck that's coming forward. I like a porch, but I don't know. It's that and the dormers. I think the dormers have to go on that piece. It's that's doesn't seem appropriate. With regard to the south left elevation, I would think it should drop down if you're adding to that, to give it more of an additive mass feel as opposed to an extension of what was previously approved as a very small little additive mass to the side, and perhaps not a double dormer and a single dormer. The east and west, the piece coming forward toward the street, I agree with what Mickey said about that. It makes the existing main house seem now like it's the additive mass, and those little shed dormers have to go. Same on the north with regard to the additive mass that's getting added on to the right, should drop down. And I couldn't agree more with the comment about the 27-foot forward deck. If there's gonna be some sort of deck platform off this house, why can't it be at grade like the house that is there now? It doesn't need to be elevated for resiliency purposes, and you wouldn't see it necessarily. So those are my comments.
Thank you, Val. Carrie.
Mickey and Val both hit basically everything that I am concerned about as well. I think the wings especially are just way too long. And yeah, I agree with everything. I really don't have anything else to add.
Yeah, I don't either. Sorry, was it Joe, was it Joe or Connie? Both. Did, I don't think I heard from either of you.
We've been sitting here quietly.
Oh, well, there's, Connie.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add. I agree with what's already been said, especially about the two additions on both left and right side and the deck. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. And Joe?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add. I agree with a lot of what Mickey said and Val. The one thing I would add is that the north elevation, that addition that's on the right, actually it still feels extensive, but it feels more in proportion than on the south elevation. And I think that's because that central mass of the main body of the house and the porch has such a presence on that elevation that it concerns me less on this elevation. I don't know how that informs what might happen to the south, but I actually feel like it's more successful on this side. And the second floor deck changes, I think, are fine. And I'm on the fence about this elevated deck coming towards the water. I think that's all I would say in addition to what's already been said.
Okay, so I think you've got a lot to go on there, Matt, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And do I hear a motion to hold for revision?
Motion to hold for revisions.
All in favor of Val's motion?
Aye.
Any nays? No.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Oh,
I am so sorry. Can you wait, Matt? I didn't know what you were here for. I should have asked you. Yes, could we hear?
Yes, please reopen.
motion to reopen the application for 63 Hulbert.
Thank you, Val. All in favor of Val's motion?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Yes, name for the record and.
Caroline Balzer at 66 Hulbert, the rear house.
Okay.
I'm also a board member on the Brant Point Association. And I just recently became aware of our Brant Point area plan, which speaks very much to this house, I think. And I wanted just to read for a couple minutes. I know I have just a limit, just to put that into the context. Especially since this is a historic house and it has such a distinct shape, which I think changes rather entirely with these additions. So I did send in some documents. I think I sent in the Sanborn maps, the land court plan of 1925, and the Macris lists this house as being built in 1915. Also, I recall that on June 27th, Commissioner Oliver raised concern about the view of the historic house being obstructed with the wing of the garage, I believe, which I wish I had been here for that meeting. So I'll let the Brant Point area plan speak for itself by quoting that it recommended to the NP and EDC a guideline for future decisions related to the protection of Brant Point's physical, social, and economic resources. It noted that Brant Point occupies a unique position in the Nantucket Island landscape, situated along the inner and outer harbors with sweeping views of open water, sunsets, sunrises, boat traffic. Brant Point has some of Nantucket's earliest summer homes along the waterfront. And this one it's shown on the Sanborn map as being one of the first ones down there, along with Sand and Weed. These houses are referenced as architecturally significant summer homes. And the point I'd like to emphasize is that Brant Point is lucky to have maintained its summer residential community character, with many homes and cottages, especially on Hulbert Avenue, remaining relatively unchanged, such as this one. This is as compared to the Easton Street homes, where many of the original homes have sustained water damage in the 20th century. And so the new 21st century styles have included so much more amassed appearance, whereas Hulbert Avenue still has its original flavor. And to finish, the area plan further states that Brant Point residents and visitors enjoy the value the feeling of openness, the proximity to the shore, as well as the magnificent views that the public and residents have of the outer and inner harbors, the channel, the beaches, and that these are the qualities that the working group sought to preserve by developing the guidelines and recommendations in the plan. So just to finish, we feel that, I feel that there's some very distinct flavor in that open space around those homes. And I for one will lose a significant view. So yes, it is selfishly motivated, but I think it's very characteristic of Hulbert Avenue in particular. And I am concerned about the dunes if there's a large deck placed on top. It's so beautiful the way that it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And sorry, I didn't know what you were here for. Would you like to say some? Okay.
I'm Ruth Baltzer from 66 Hulbert Avenue. And I'm here tonight because I grew up next to Sandy Side at 63 Hulbert. In the 80+ years that I've been close to that house, it's had 3 owners, the Browns, the Bonds, and the Failings. And never in that period of time has there been any major alteration to the main house. We are fortunate in Brant Point and on Hulbert Avenue that we have some of the early summer homes. And they are, you have seen them on the Sanborn map. They are still intact. They are still in their original design. And even though some of them have been moved a little bit, they're still essentially in their original location. This includes the Hulbert Johnson house, Dune Over, and of course, Sandy Side that we're talking about tonight. I would be very sad to see such a large, very large addition on this beautiful and historic home. And I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much for voicing your opinion. Did we get your names for the record? Yeah. We did? Okay, good. Okay, so I think that's something to think about, Matt.
Yeah, I would we're all familiar with Hulbert Ave, Easton Street, the amount of construction that's going on. I appreciate the comments and we'll certainly take those to heart. I think the board has communicated some suggested revisions, but I would just say that, there's quite a bit of work going on in this area, both on Hulbert and Easton Street. But having said that, we'll take the comments to heart and come back to you with some revisions.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, let's open.
Motion to hold for revisions.
Okay, thank you, Val. All in favor of Val's motion?
Aye.
Any nays? No. Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Board. My name is Sam Titone from Workshop APD, and I'm here to represent two applications for 8 Moores Ave. The first being a move-off demo of an existing shed. The client, yes,
Sorry, I'm not either. Could you speak a little bit?
yes.
Closer to the phone.
The owner would like a larger shed for their storage needs. So the first application is a move off demo application for the small existing shed as shown. I guess I'll just speak to that one first, since the next application is the proposed new shed. Not much to speak of for the existing shed.
Are there any drawings with this application or just the photograph?
Just the photograph and existing site plan. So it's a non-conforming shed built over the setback line.
Okay. Thank you. Holly?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I think it's important to understand the main dwelling on the lot is a circa 1893 Second Empire. Actually, we don't have many Second Empires on Nantucket. So it's contributing obviously to the district. I think it's important to notate that because we don't know the significance of this shed. We don't know when it was built. I think it would be helpful to know from the construction. Sometimes we can tell that by the interior. So obviously photos of the interior would be helpful other than looking at tax records. But those were my main concerns is association with a Second Empire on the lot. So
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Holly. I was wondering what those sort of funny dormers in the roof or Second Empire. Yeah. Mickey,
Had no concerns. Thank you.
no concern. Okay, so same board. Connie, are you ready?
Actually, I did have these two on consent, and because it was a demo, I couldn't put it on consent. I would like to know how old it is, because I did see that the main house was built in the late 1800s, but it's kind of a funny looking shed. Yeah, it doesn't really look like a shed, so I didn't have any concerns.
Okay. Joe?
Yeah, I have no concerns. If there's some history that could be documented, I think that would be helpful, but I don't have any concerns.
I agree with that. Val?
No concerns.
Carrie?
Nothing except that if it goes, it will get out of the setback. Nice.
I remember that. Okay, do I hear a motion then?
Motion to approve is submitted.
Thank you, Val. All in favor of Val's motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Nay, there's no nay. There are no nays.
No nays.
Okay. Moving right along to the new shed.
So the new shed is fairly straightforward. The client just wanted a larger shed to accommodate their storage needs. There isn't a whole lot of room on the property. So we set the shed back as far as possible on site. There's very minimal views from the street, and we matched all the detailing of the main house with the painted trim, corner board, wood gutters, copper leaders wrapped with wood.
Thank you. Holly, what do you think?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So appreciate that the trim package will match the historic main house. It would be nice to maybe have some fenestration that would match the main house. I didn't see that there were any floor lights in the Second Empire structure. So it would be nice to have an appropriate to have a 6 light. And those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Mickey? Okay.
No, sorry, I was muted. we had no concerns, but the site plan doesn't show the front gate and hedge running along the street. And I guess the question is that going to remain, or are they taking that down? That's it. Thanks.
It's to remain, and we actually want to have the shed centered on the side entry gate. So that we did note.
Thank you.
Back there, straight.
Okay, okay. All right, thank you. So with the gable forward coming
Yeah.
at the street?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, sorry, Holly, what were your comment about the window? You said something about it reflecting the.
So typically, we have a set of, guidance that you all have for sheds, and that they should emulate obviously the trim package, the fenestration. Obviously with a mansard roof and a second empire structure, you really don't want to go that route, but fenestration would be nice. And I recognize the I think it's a 4-light right there. And they're fairly small. So that would be my comment, to have a larger 6/6 that reflects 6/6 within the main structure.
Thank you, Holly. Okay, so, and sorry, my iPad died. Are the doors natural to weather, or
They're white.
they're painted white and they're
Match.
groove like?
Red cedar roof. White trim, yep, it all matches the main house.
What is the door? Is it
Just, like a. Whoop, come on.
so it's a V groove sort of with a frame,
Yeah.
natural to weather? Okay, good.
No,
No.
Painted white, yeah,
and
natural,
the-
not
and the
natural.
window
color,
is-
sorry.
Okay, so, all right, let's go around the table and see what people think.
I'll go.
Okay, thanks.
I have no concerns. I think what we will see is just this front facade. The two little windows, I don't know that we're gonna see them. Would you be willing to change those to maybe a 6-light as opposed to a 4-light
Yeah, I think that would be fine. There's
instead of making them bigger?
bike storage, so I think they
Yeah.
just wanted small windows, but
I don't have concerns really about those for that reason. I don't think you can see them.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
Do you mind going to L100? The site plan? The one that's clouded. Yeah, there. So this is a shed. I guess this is a question. It's a shed, but it's also a deck that connects the shed to the house, and it's a grill. And according to all the notes off to the right. So is this deck, those are steps that go up to a deck? The elevations, the side elevation of the shed, if you go down to the side elevations, one side elevation shows, yeah, the one with the door. So the white space at the bottom, that indicates, I guess, the deck height. So to the left of that is the grill, and I'm curious how is that manifesting? We don't have an elevation of it. I don't know if it's stone or wood, or is it?
it's
part
a
of the-
wood deck. So yes, there's kind of two elevations.
Maybe the grill's not part of this application. I think
It's on the drawing as. such,
it's
though.
clouded though.
Well, it's actually part of the house. It seems though that would be actually part of the house, so it would be a separate application. And good call. It's not getting approved with this shed.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So the comments regarding the shed seem fine, but there's missing information, I think, with respect to the grilling area, because it could be stone, it could be painted shiplap, that's going to have a stone countertop on it or not. So I think we just need to know how that's going to look, because you are going to see into that. I don't think it's something that's not approvable necessarily, but
Right, so for clarification, are we just doing the shed now, or are the the grill and those sort of stairs part,
Because it's part of the house.
right?
It's not part of the
Sorry
shed.
about
And
that.
it's not on this application.
Yeah. So if we
Oh,
give an
tear
approval
up
on the
the site
shed, we
plan.
have to take those pieces off. so
Right.
They're not.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
We can write it
Okay.
on our.
Okay, so we would only be approving this shed at this time, not the grill and those
the
that
deck.
inset deck and stairs and whatever. So do I
Yeah.
hear the motion for just the shed?
I'll try. Motion to approve, omitting the deck and the grill proposed, as those should be a separate application.
And the shed itself is
A-okay.
A-okay,
Yeah.
okay. On Val's motion, Connie,
I,
Joe,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
Carrie.
Aye.
And I'm an I. Joe, thanks for catching.
I know.
I don't have.
Thank
one.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, I don't know. Hey, I don't know. I don't even have a.
Well, it does raise a question too. The door would be up higher.
We'll have to,
does show higher on the elevation.
Okay.
If you look at the side elevation, it's the next page down. The bottom right elevation. so
Oh,
the
he's
white
coming down.
space, That white. space is
Oh,
section.
gotcha. Okay. Yep.
okay, here we go. All
Okay.
right, 4 Harbor Square structure revision. Or something.
That workshop they do.
He ju-
Are you on
Is he
that?
out in the? Okay, well, that's fine. All right, well, let's not even talk about it then. Let's go right to, okay, what?
I do have
Or here? Oh, okay, for the land bank parking? Okay,
I'm so sorry, everybody. I had a land bank meeting, and to be perfectly blunt, I didn't realize this was on the agenda. So sorry.
oh, okay, yeah, are you ready to go?
I am ready to go.
Oh, great, okay,
Okay, so we have to go back.
yeah.
What is that?
Okay, 54 Madaket?
Oh,
Yes,
there it is.
Okay,
the old bamboo forest.
yeah.
Go ahead, Eleanor, whenever you're ready.
Okay, well, this is pretty simple, I hope. I sound like Stephen Cohen, don't I? Basically, we're increasing the parking area in order to make it less hazardous, because what's happening is it's a very shallow parking area and people are just backing out into the bike path and carrying gravel with them. And it's really, I mean, I've been on that bike path on my bike before, and it's not terrific. So we're trying to increase the safety by expanding it, making it larger so cars don't have to back into the bike path. Basically, they can back out within the parking area itself and pull out head first.
Great, terrific, thank you. I think that's pretty straightforward. Holly?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the proposed depth complies with the 40-foot minimum depth of the bike path per our transportation planner. While I note 75 feet wide is concerning, that exists already. I don't see any concerns with the proposal. The Belgian block strip of the apron is appropriate for the area and is in the area. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have a question.
Okay,
Is,
Mickey's not on this, right? No. Oh, yeah. go ahead.
I think it's a good idea too. I don't understand how it's gonna work. I mean, you don't think people will park like 2 and,
No, we're gonna have parking where it'll be signed so that people are just,
oh, okay.
yeah, we're
and-
not expanding the number of parking areas, Val. It's just to make it a safer parking area.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I just didn't understand how it was gonna work. So. as
That's a
long-
good question. That's a good
I-
question.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Any other questions? Any motion?
Motion to approve is submitted.
Thank you, Val, for that motion. Anyone in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Great. Thank you. Thank you, Eleanor.
Thank you very much for accommodating me. I'm sorry.
No worries.
All right, bye-bye.
40 Youngs Way. Duplexers.
Oh. Yeah.
Hey, Abby,
Yeah.
who's on this?
Hold on an alternate. Everybody?
Well, Pohl, Welch and Coombs are not here, but there are the three of us as alternates. So you do have a full 5.
I think we'll be fine no matter, even if I have a smaller void.
So do we know who's Pohl, Welch, Coombs, Camp, Oliver.
Okay.
Do we have enough people to proceed?
Well, actually, we can have 5. We
We're
can
all
have-
listed as alternates.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, great.
should be fine.
Okay, so everybody's on it, but, yeah. Go ahead, Tori.
Okay, so this is, was the building itself was generally approved by the board at our last meeting, which I believe was May or June. And Stephen had made a request to have a surveyed plan showing the appropriate parking, which is what you see in front of you. So that was the only issue that the board had at the time, but I welcome your comments if there's any. We added like a little porch to the front. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Tori.
Yeah.
Val. question.
I didn't have a problem with the house because of its situation behind the other house. But the parking is what material? It doesn't say, and is there any fencing or vegetation around it? Cause it goes right up to the property line. Yep, there's an existing fence, and I don't think those photos are with this. They were with the original app. There's an existing 5-in-1 with Okay. a lattice at the top, all the way along the, let me situate myself. Like southwest property line. So along that right side of the driveway. The L shape here. Yeah, okay. There's like an existing 5-in-1. Yeah. And some of it needs repair. It does wrap to the back. And he does have an agreement with the neighbor to the back to replace it all the way along the back as well. Okay, so what's the material? Of the gravel driveway? The front is gravel, I think. Is it labeled? Did Don label the front driveway? No. So we're open to whatever you would prefer. I believe the front is gravel. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it in the picture. So that was my only question.
Okay, and we had a question, how do you turn around with that driveway?
So it'll be a backing because of the size of the lot. There is room, do you see in front of the duplex? If they wanted to, and we're happy to adjust that, if that would be what you request, to put a turnaround right there to back in and back and then drive out straight.
Okay, let me just,
It's
can I
tight,
just
though.
get
Yeah.
this straight? 'Cause,
It is.
So this is the driveway going back?
You got it,
And where did you say the turnaround could be?
in front of the duplex.
Up in that corner between the two buildings.
Squeeze, like
Where
turn,
your finger
yeah.
is, yep.
It's
Right
very
there.
tight, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
It's,
What about you're gonna, and one wheel is gonna be in the light?
they're gonna have to back out, Abby.
Oh.
It's
Yeah,
not-
right now it's proposed to just back out.
it's not gonna-
That's fine.
And I will say that, you know, the existing tenants up front, the existing tenants proposed are for a local Stop and Shop community. And so most of them are on bikes. They get an RTA
passes for all of them, so we don't anticipate a lot of cars being the situation, but we do need to plan for it. I understand.
Okay, Holly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm looking at an email from Stephen pretty much about this application, since he was the one who requested
yeah.
additional information, but he said that his concerns were the site plan showing actual minimally required parking for the number of bedrooms in the duplex with the basement, including to assesses where it can sit due to parking in proximity of setbacks. So with that note, I think it would be helpful for the site plan, which is not contrary to any other site plan that we've seen for any other regulatory board, to include, and you may already have that for the duplex for the planning board, but the number of parking spaces of where exactly they are, because it is hard to discern where they are on that. That'd be my comment, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Thank
Through you, Madam
Holly.
Chair, when you're ready.
What's that?
Oh, through you, Madam Chair, when you're ready, I just
Yeah,
wanted to answer that. We spent a lot of time with the surveyor on this, and they are specifically delineated 9 by 20 there.
Yeah, it says it just below,
Yeah.
below the 4 square, there's a note saying 4 9 by 20
Yes.
parking spaces.
Okay.
It's hard
It
to
took
see on
us
that,
a while
but
to get
it's
here.
there.
Any other questions?
Enlarge it.
Any motion?
Motion to approve as submitted, citing that the parking area will be gravel. To
Okay.
match.
There it is. All in favor of Val's motion?
Aye.
Any nays? No, so that's fine. Thank you,
Thank you so
Tori.
much.
Botticelli and Paul, I guess we're holding that unless Lisa's here. Okay.
Hello, Sai Tong here, representing for Botticelli and Poll.
Okay, hold on, Si, just one sec. We're just gonna find a board for you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we found them. You can go when you're ready.
Okay, this is a revision to previously submitted. Unfortunately, I didn't represent this project the last time it was up, so I am relaying the revisions that were made here. First of all, we've lowered the ridge height of the main mass. We have revised the fenestration on that main mass and added a chimney on the west elevation. All of those on the west elevation, which I believe address the issue or the concern of the dormer relative to the ridge height. And if we scroll down to A2.2, we have also revised the fenestration in that gable end main mass, and you see the chimney there again, and the lowering of the ridge height. And the last sheet here, we have added the chimney and added the shed mass on the secondary mass facing the south.
Terrific. Thank you, Si. Good to go. Anybody ready to comment?
Holly.
I'll comment.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
I think the changes to the west elevation are an improvement with respect to the dormer and the window configurations. I think I have no issues with any of the changes. I think they're all appropriate, with the exception of the chimney. The chimney feels like, squat. So I feel like it needs to get a little bit taller and potentially a smidge narrower. But other than that, other than the proportions of the chimney, I have no problem with the changes. I think they're appropriate.
Thank you, Joe.
Abby, it's Mickey.
Yeah. Oh, Mickey, hi.
We had some
Go ahead.
comments on this one. So, thank you. So Joe brought up the chimney. That was one of our concerns. It's sort of a contemporary looking chimney almost. It should be more square in proportion, a little bulkier. And not, it's the proportions are wrong. And also, when you look at the west elevation, or the north the north elevation, you can see that the chimney tucked height to the side of the building there. If it were to follow through down into a fireplace below, that window in the middle would conflict with a potential fireplace. So it's nice to have a chimney on this house, but it doesn't have to be on that west side. It could be almost anywhere further into the center of the house. But just to have that kind of conflict between a chimney and a lack of a fireplace seems inappropriate. And then the only other comment was the windows on the north elevation. They still seem sort of not very uniform. They're kind of disorganized. I think that elevation, the fenestration of that elevation could be improved. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mickey. Could I see the south elevation so I can see where, or the, I just want to, or the front of the building, I just can't see how where the chimney is on where's the front elevation?
Yeah, it's coming. There it is.
Oh, there it is. So the chimney would be. Oh, right there. Oh,
First floor.
I gotcha. Yeah.
On the west, by the north elevation.
Windows aren't separated enough.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Oh.
down on the first floor, there's a window right where the fireplace. is.
No, I get it. I didn't realize it was to one side. I thought it was in the middle.
Oh.
Okay, so, everybody, any questions for Si?
On it.
What?
I think what Mickey was also saying is that the chimney is a false chimney, right? So it could be in the center of the building. Doesn't have
Yes.
to be, it looks like
Well,
the cat's about to knock it off the
True, and-
ridge.
And it, yeah, historically, it would be in the center.
Right.
Who would like to go first?
I have really nothing to add to what Joe said. It's just really the chimney.
So center it,
Oh,
or,
this is
or make it at least up here as a
through that.
working chimney.
This is.
What about the windows on that side?
I don't know that you're gonna see that, given
It's a slice.
the hedge and stuff that's there, unless they don't keep that, but I didn't have too much concern about that.
Okay, anybody else?
That
I
makes
don't have
sense.
anything to add.
Connie,
No, nothing to add. That's already been said. Thank you.
would somebody like to craft a motion?
Should we give them a choice to shift the chimney or remove that first floor window underneath it?
If I may, Madam Chair, I'm happy to reproportion the chimney and move it to the center of the building.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that eliminates the fenestration concern.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and the
Less squat and centered.
the proportions would be taller and corbelled and not so chunky, well, at least from one side.
I'll make that motion through staff.
Could you say it again, Michael?
Motion to approve with the chimney reconfigured in scale and centered on the building.
Okay, all in favor of Carrie's motion?
Aye.
Hi.
Any nays?
Here.
Nay.
Right there.
Madam Chair, 3C Street's going to be moved to next week.
Okay, terrific. Well, we only have two more then.
And I recused on 37 Chuck Hollow based on a letter that was sent to the butter,
Okay,
my former business partner.
okay.
So
So Sonny, we only have 4 people. You're fine with that? Okay.
Well,
Thank you,
wait,
everybody.
Nancy's here for structures or. Yeah.
it's before.
Where are we? Oh, what?
Oh, you know what? It switched from earlier today. They were different. Gloucester was first and Chuck Hollow was second. Yeah.
No problem. Cam.
Why?
Evening, Madam Chairman and board members.
What's that?
I said, good evening, Madam Chairman and
Good.
board members.
Good evening.
Hold on. We didn't get the view path for this. Till now, till just this second, so we haven't had a chance to look at
I
it.
don't even have. I mean, was the application accepted and stamped and all that? It's just, we don't have it in here.
No, I don't know.
Sorry,
Madam
Nancy,
Chair.
what is the address?
One, no, excuse me, 2 Gloucester Street and.
2 Gloucester.
I remember this. It was relatively
Oh,
simple
it's at the very end.
gabled structure,
It
like
is.
super simple.
Actually, that building is what the owner is planning to do. It's 1 Arlington Street. And if I can go through my little group here.
Well, I don't even have a, I'm completely.
No, we don't have it on this, and if they can't get it up on here, we
On-
can't see it.
Madam
so.
Chair, I'm
That's fine.
sorry. I received the view pack late this afternoon
Mhm.
or this submission for it. So, but we also have the paper.
And nobody's online, so we could look at the paper,
Okay,
because we don't have anyone on Zoom.
all right, old fashioned style.
Yeah,
Need
baby.
them prior to the meeting, like more than 15 minutes before a meeting.
What, and I have away messages in our emails, because if not, people think we're here.
I'll start calling people if they don't have all their stuff done.
And are you
It
on
just
this?
makes it hard.
Is this
if
the
you're
one
a
that you want?
person who looks at
No,
everything.
it's, I mean, I am on this, yes, 37 Chuck Hollow. I
Okay,
have
you
to-
guys can share? Do we have?
Not at all.
All right.
I just have to figure out how to open a paper. Oh, all right.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
this also had established board.
It already had it.
Oh, yeah, it's old business.
Okay,
So we have Welch, Paul, Welch, Camp, Coombs, Oliver, Patton, and Paul.
So Patton,
So everybody but Carrie.
everybody but me. Okay.
So that means she has a 3-member board, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Four.
4, sorry.
But I don't have a site.
There's not a site plan, there's a locus.
There's a
There's
site
like a
plan.
large locus. Oh.
Let's see, could you describe what you're doing, Nancy?
Yes, it's a second dwelling for the owner. And he had picked out and it lives in Tom Nevers on this property. And he picked out the neighbor's house that he figured would work for him. It's a 1-bedroom residence, really. And this would be the front of it. At the last meeting, there was a conversation about splitting the mulled window into 2 separate windows, which we're happy to do, and that should be proposed in there too. That's more of an aside than anything else. Then trying to make the house that he lives in, you see, I think Val has that picture right now. That was a house moved many years ago from Shimo Pond Road. So it does not reflect in the eyes of people that live next door to him. The house, it's not as typical Tom Nevers in that neighborhood. And I have pictures that are included there, hopefully, I don't know, of the neighborhood. They all have very similar structures to what we're proposing. And the property is very well screened. And will continue that way. In the first submission, there were pictures of the neighbor. And I can show you, this would be his.
So they're gonna have 2 driveways? Yes.
And that was approved by the planning board.
Nancy, do you have where this is on the site plan?
It's
Here.
right there.
Yes.
I thought it wasn't gonna be seen from the road.
It really won't be seen because of the foliage around it.
Where's the second driveway? It's off of Fairfield?
Off of
It
Fairfield,
goes
yes.
Straight into the new building, which is unfortunate.
Well, Fairfield doesn't seem, it's a sandy road. It doesn't seem to be very well traveled, but just by the old people that live there. The house will match his house as far as the trim will be the white and natural shingle.
Nancy, I've got a couple of questions myself.
Sure.
On Fairfield Street, you have a driveway, are those two cars you have, right?
Yes.
So you're saying that this is a driveway right next to the house?
No, just in the front. It just comes
Just in
from
the
the
front.
street. It's more like a parking area.
And these are,
Those are the two vehicles. Which is what the planning board approved.
all right, what's the pleasure of the board? Because a couple of questions here. Any question?
Well, the structure itself seems simple enough. I think my concern would be if this structure is sitting in a parking lot right up against the street. Like, if it was pushed back 10 feet,
Well, there is an apron attached to that, which was a 10-foot apron. So
I think what we're trying to say is that this building is tall and skinny. And if there's nothing to mitigate that, and when we talked about it prior, I thought this was all vegetated.
well, it is.
So we have
vegetated.
now a tall structure and then a parking space right next to it. There's nothing except this wide open view of this little building that's tall. Can there be
There-
some sort of vegetative buffer in front of it somehow to sort of mitigate?
Yes, there's pictures here somewhere of
So
what
Nancy,
is
I think we've
existing.
got enough questions to actually ask for some more information concerning the landscaping, where the driveway hits the building, and a little more information if,
Well, I don't want to make her have to wait and come back because we're not asking her to change the building, but we do need some more information. A site plan that gives us a little bit more like the front door is gonna come toward Fairfield. Is
Correct.
there a walkway? Is there a tree? You know what I mean?
that's why I'm saying
Yeah.
we need more information so we can make a educated vote on this, because otherwise we don't know what we're voting on.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually think that if you look at the site plan, if you can read it, I think it says 21 feet to the corner of the building. But there's a stoop on the front of this that's not represented on the floor plan. So, and the setback's 20 feet. So the house has to go back. So I think we need an updated site plan that reflects the footprint and the green space
Yeah, I
and the
just
parking
think so,
space.
Nance, what this shows us, if this is where it's going, is there's no cut to that street yet. And we're gonna be looking just straight in at this building. We just need a better site plan, I think. Nothing to the building.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and put some screening material around.
Yeah, for instance, what Joe just said, it shows that it's 20 something feet to the building, but that's not to the stoop, which is in front. So,
it's not a complete application. I
Um,
think we should,
what is the setback there, Joe? 20?
20 feet. Because technically it's not a front yard setback, but I think the point being is that it's closer to the road on this plan than we'd want it. It's closer to the road than zoning would allow. And there's a question of whether or not what's in front of this house is an extension of the gravel parking area or not, or if it's grass. So,
No,
and it's tall. I mean, for a small building, it's,
Could somebody make a motion for more information so that we're passing something that is relevant?
Are you looking more for a landscape?
It sounds like landscape information, and
Driveway?
exactly where it is on the site, how the relationship between your proposed house relates to the driveway. And
Could
And
we
the-
do that through staff or no?
I think there's enough questions here. I
Okay.
mean, sorry if this meanders out of our territory, but even these on the south elevation, this is our territory, the French doors break the foundation line. So if that's a slab on grade, fine, but if it's not a slab on grade, those doors should be up higher. And if those doors are up higher, you're going to require a landing, and that landing's going to be in your setback. So I think there's a number of things that need to be minor things that need to be thought through. Otherwise, you don't want to start excavation and encounter all that. So, and I think all of that will actually make for a better streetscape in Tom Nevers too. So.
Do you get that?
In concept, I'll have to.
Who did the site plan?
Actually, it was given to me by the gentleman who is looking to build the house. So, and I'm sure that came from 1 Arlington Street. So we can work on it.
Yeah, whoever prepared the application for the planning board, I would find out who did that, and then they could give you more detailed site plan. And it's really the same information at a larger scale and showing the landings that would come off the house where the doors are. And I think that will end up repositioning the structure slightly.
Okay.
Because the first
Thank you.
time there was screening.
Okay, can we have
Thank
a
you
motion
all.
to hold for more information, please?
I'd like to make a motion to hold for a updated site plan that shows the parking and the surrounding landscape.
All in favor of Joe's motion?
Aye.
Aye. Are you in favor of Joe's motion?
Okay,
Could-
sure. Yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
just trying to figure out where I am.
Well, she's going to help us on, if he comes back. It's going to be a detailed, informative.
The house is fine, Nance.
It sounds like we have landscaping and setbacks.
We just need some
Driveway.
stuff to scale, yeah,
Right.
on a
Yeah.
site plan.
Actually, I thought the roof was steep, so.
Well, she showed us a picture of the same building. It's the same building.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did all in favor of Joe's motion?
I thought we did that. Aye.
All right.
Good night.
Thank you,
very
Nancy.
much.
I don't know who's not so sorry.
Yeah, you could probably go home.
I think this is the last one.
Oh, my.
Are you serious?
Wait,
Does it matter?
I don't know. I collected all the papers.
had 4.
Four.
Abby spoke last week, the last meeting. Right. Thornwell, Camp, Paul.
Whole.
Paul, right. No, yeah. You were on.
No,
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 Paul
no.
was, or Paul
Oh,
was.
no, you
Paul
weren't.
was,
You're
or
right.
Paul was.
It
Paul
says
was. Paul, though. I was on it a long time ago. To come back twice.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
was on it the first time.
You were on it the first time, and then I think Abby took your place the second time, and now we're.
You have 3 people.
3. I mean, we're happy to have anybody that wants to join.
It's a matter of technicality if we're allowed. to.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
Being honest,
Hatton,
if it's-
well,
there was no
Camp and
conflict with
Paul.
the letter, and we're past the letter. So.
Yeah, well, and
Oh.
what you referred to Sana being a former employee, and so
Yeah.
we used to work together. So I figured based on that, I would stay out of it.
Okay, so we're, yep. Okay, so well, Kung
So
Fu,
I'm listed as being on it.
yes, and Connie,
Madam Chair,
yes,
this, yeah, these,
This goal.
this is old. So the last time this was heard was September 19th. We had Cole, Welch, Cam, Coombs, Patton. That's it.
okay.
No alternate because Carrie already missed the meeting. And you feel, yeah, and you would have, she would
Oh.
have to mull in.
Oh, boy.
And just, so you took her spot and Connie wasn't here for whatever reason. This was heard and Paul recused.
I was here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Connie's been here both
I was
Oh,
here. Yeah,
sorry.
I remember commenting.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
But we still only have two people.
Correct.
So you
Okay.
can't-
Oh, man.
So.
I couldn't I couldn't sit on it if I wanted to.
Which means I have to go back and the meeting, which I'm happy to do, but it would happen next, you'd be up the next time and then these guys are calling you back. So you can call that.
One meeting, only if it's one meeting you can mow it.
Yeah, and that's all it is.
Is all it is.
Because I was on the original, missed one.
I've been at all the meetings, but I wasn't here for the first round or two, and then when I was gonna be as an alternate, then I recused, but I'm fine sitting on it. I feel like I can be objective. And I've been following the changes.
Esmeralda says you can't,
I can't.
so.
No, but officially he didn't recuse, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
just
did.
not- It's just not listed.
Yeah. Bummer.
I
I
bet
would,
you next time you show up next week, if it comes up next week, Cole and Welch will all be here. Yeah,
It would be up to the top of the agenda.
right?
for
Yeah.
old business.
So you have Cole, Welch, possibly Coombs, Patton, and, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So basically, no, it's a can't happen tonight, right?
No, I'm sorry.
yeah, I would have,
Didn't
if I
realize
could,
that. That's,
I would have.
I mean, I appreciate your time.
sorry about that. It's horrible.
You don't want to have 5 people on the board.
Oh,
Just me and Abby.
This is why we have the alternates and the locations and all that stuff. I'm trying to. No, that part's not broken.
Alright.
Hey,
Thanks.
sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Motion. Yeah, I was